Gunther.
My ego is based on results.
For the World Heavyweight Championship.
I make history.
I cannot wait for this.
WWE SummerSlam tonight.
I only focus on what happens after the bell rings, Punk. And at SummerSlam, I'm gonna choke you out. I'm gonna drop you like a wet towel.
CM Punk.
We know how this ends.
Gunther.
My ego is based on results.
For the World Heavyweight Championship.
I make history.
I cannot wait for this.
WWE SummerSlam tonight.
I only focus on what happens after the bell rings, Punk. And at SummerSlam, I'm gonna choke you out. I'm gonna drop you like a wet towel.
CM Punk.
We know how this ends.
Gunther.
My ego is based on results.
For the World Heavyweight Championship.
I make history.
I cannot wait for this.
WWE SummerSlam tonight.
I only focus on what happens after the bell rings, Punk. And at SummerSlam, I'm gonna choke you out. I'm gonna drop you like a wet towel.
CM Punk.
We know how this ends.
Gunther.
My ego is based on results.
For the World Heavyweight Championship.
I make history.
I cannot wait for this.
WWE SummerSlam tonight. Then. Now. Forever. Together.
Midtown Manhattan shines under the brilliance of a mid-afternoon sun, but today we have a meeting across the river in East Rutherford, the Meadowlands, the swamps of Jersey. And this is the home of the Jets and Giants of the NFL, the 2026 FIFA World Cup Final. And this weekend, the host of an historic two-night SummerSlam. The world champion will headline SummerSlam tonight. Gunther, the ring general, hopes to cement his ever-growing legacy. But to do that, he needs to beat this man, the voice of the voiceless, CM Punk, looking for his first world championship in WWE in 12 years. Punk says, I don't want the world title, I need it. And it is Yeet Jersey tonight, main event Jey Uso. Teams with cousin Roman Reigns versus the Oscilla, Big Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker. Welcome to the countdown to SummerSlam. And you are looking live outside MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Over 50,000 WWE fans are expected tonight for SummerSlam. Welcome to Countdown to SummerSlam, presented by Cricket. Hello again, everyone. I'm Michael Cole, and hello, New Jersey! Are you guys ready for the first ever two-night SummerSlam? I'm sorry, I'm hyped. We're making history tonight. I'm Michael Cole, the WWE, the man on the end, former WWE champion, former Mr. Money in the Bank. He's got a winning record at SummerSlam. He's been in tag team matches. He's been in mixed tag team matches. He's been in singles matches. He is Big E.
Yes! Michael, it is great to be here, but I have to inform you, you're sitting next to a couple of losers because exactly 4,500 days ago, this man tapped out to The Miz at WrestleMania 29 in this very stadium, and I also lost to Team Hell No. So we're, yeah.
Well, we're not talking
Is
about
that true?
Well,
It's
we're not.
true.
Well, listen, we're not talking about WrestleMania. We are talking about SummerSlam. We've got a 5-time Intercontinental Champion who at SummerSlam once teamed with Cody Rhodes, aka Stardust. He also beat Daniel Bryan at this event, and back in 2010. He was the final man in the ring against John Cena when it was WWE's team against the Nexus team. Welcome, Wade Barrett.
Thank you very What a great introduction, and what a terrible introduction from Big E, but I appreciate them both. That is the yin and yang of Wade Barrett. And let me tell you, I've been around the world. Nobody does raucous quite like the northeast of the USA, and this crowd is going to hit a whole new level this evening. They've been slamming wieners in the parking lot. They've been slamming beers. You know a thing or two about slamming wieners in the parking lot, Big E. Let me tell you, it's going to be a wild night at SummerSlam.
I've always wanted to do this in New Jersey. Everybody knows the Jets are my favorite NFL team. So let me hear it. Jets, 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 Jets. There we go. Well, what a night we have here on SummerSlam Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. Let's run down everything and show you what the night's going to be. The main event tonight is for the World Championship. Gunther will put the title on the line against the man who said he came back to WWE to make money and win titles, CM Punk. There is a storm coming to New Jersey tonight. The question is, will it be the Queen of the Ring night, or will it be Tiffany time? Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. The tag team titles are on the line. Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez, undefeated as a team for Judgment Day. Defend the titles against the brand new team. Are they friends? Are they not? We'll talk about that in the show today. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Karrion Kross says he will finally get Sami Zayn to show his dark side tonight. Will that happen? It's Sami and Karrion Kross at SummerSlam. It wouldn't be SummerSlam without a celebrity involved. Jelly Roll has been training months for this match. Jelly Roll and the Viper Randy Orton to take on Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul tonight. And the match that'll kick us off on SummerSlam Saturday, the Bloodline back together perhaps for one night only. Jey Uso, Roman Reigns team up against the new sheriffs in town. Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, massive tag team match tonight. We've got reporters everywhere here in New Jersey, including our own Jackie Redmond, Peter Rosenberg.
Cole, thank you so much. So excited to be on the floor of MetLife as we get you set for night one of SummerSlam. And Rosenberg, I feel like we should just jump right to the main event. It's a big one. CM Punk taking on the ring general himself, Gunther, for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, in a weird way, Jackie, you could almost argue this match is being underrated a little bit. There's so much underhyped. There's so much conversation about what's happening over these 2 days at MetLife Stadium that we are not thinking about the fact that after this journey, this pilgrimage that CM Punk has been on after all this time, he could be at the top of the mountain and finally be World Heavyweight Champion again.
I know. It's still hard to believe that he's back in WWE, let alone potentially hours away from winning a title. But you know what concerns me just a little bit is the dominance of the ring general. Since joining the main roster, the guy is like 53-4. He very rarely loses. And he has this tendency to sort of rob us of our fairy tale endings, if you will.
Yes.
And I feel like that we might be in danger of that here tonight.
I feel you, because you take someone who is beloved by the public, someone who there's lots of nostalgia for. We just saw this at Saturday night's main event, right? And Goldberg ends up, in a valiant effort, losing to the ring general, right? You look back, McAfee, the whole crowd, everyone wanted to see. No.
Jey Uso at times.
Multiple times. You're not getting that moment. That is who Gunther is.
You will not be happy. That's Gunther's goal.
That is exactly what his goal is, to send everyone back to New Jersey and New York and Connecticut and wherever you came from unhappy tonight.
Well, listen, maybe CM Punk can get through all of that and make a crowd of thousands here at MetLife very excited tonight. Time will tell. That is the match that will finish night one of SummerSlam. Let's head outside of MetLife and check in with Kathy Kelly and Byron Saxton as they get you set for the match that will kick things off here tonight.
Peter, Jackie, thank you so much. And let me point out that some announced team pairings actually color coordinate.
Wow, yeah, speaking of tag teams that look good together, we got to talk about Roman Reigns and Jey Uso tag teaming against Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker tonight. Now, the Brawns have just been on an incredible trajectory. Paul Heyman, their Oracle, posturing them as the future of the industry. Bronson Reed being called the tribal thief after taking Roman Reigns' shoes the other week. And I saw him walking around yesterday. He was wearing those shoes around his neck, calling it the Shula Fala.
The Shula Fala?
The Shula Fala. We also have to talk about Braun Breaker because his trajectory has just been incredible over this past year. Looking back to last year's SummerSlam, winning his first United States Championship, and now I can't even remember a time he hasn't been the main event of Monday Night Raw.
All good points. I agree with you, Kathy, but I will say this. You saw what happened on Monday night. You saw the destruction that Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed caused. But what they've effectively done, right? I'm afraid of bees. You know this about me, okay?
Yeah.
Hornets, Wasp. What they've effectively done is they've taken a can of Raid and they've sprayed it on the nest of Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. What's gonna happen when you spray that Raid?
They're angry.
They're angry. They're coming out with a vengeance. They're coming out intense, and there will be hell to pay for the bronze. So tonight, I'm ready for a fight, but I'm also ready for a little yeet and a little one and a little win.
I'm ready to see an apology. Maybe we'll see that.
They're cool. They're
Okay,
fine.
okay.
They're fine. They're smooth. You know who else is smooth?
Who?
Megan Morant, Sam Roberts.
Is Sam Roberts smooth?
His head is.
Okay.
And they have a smooth take on the WWE Women's Championship match between Jade Cargill and
Tiffany Stratton.
I'm pretty sure Byron and me go to the same barber. I don't know what he's getting at.
Well, Sam, I think you're pretty smooth. But listen, one of the matches that I'm looking forward to most tonight is the WWE Women's Championship match between Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. Now, Sam, ever since Jade Cargill arrived here in WWE, we've been waiting for her to have the moment. Is tonight the Jade Cargill moment?
Well, all the potential is there. The Women's Championship is on the line. We're in a stadium, but there's one X factor. And that's Tiffany Stratton, who this young in her career has stadium experience, has championship experience, and is not impressed with the journey of Jade Cargill. I think that she's going to be a cog in that Jade Cargill machine, but it remains to be seen. We're going to break it all down on the SummerSlam Recap podcast after the show, but for now, what do you guys on the panel think?
Thanks a lot, Sam. And there's a lot to talk about, a lot to break down tonight. I want to start out with the main event here of SummerSlam Saturday, and that would be the Ring General Gunther defending the World Heavyweight Championship against CM Punk. So let's talk about Gunther. Big E, 80% of the time that this man has been in WWE, he has gold around his waist. At SummerSlam last year, he won his first World Championship when he defeated Damian Priest. Now he's defending the title in this massive stadium tonight. Gunther has been itching. He has been asking for an opportunity to take on the upper echelon of our sport, and he gets that tonight in CM Punk. Is he ready?
I think he absolutely is. We talk a lot about Gunther's dominance, and he has been exactly that here in WWE. What I love about this, though, is I've been waiting. As soon as Gunther was called up to the main roster, I have wanted to see him in the ring with the Cenas of the world, with the Punks of the world. This is the echelon of guys that I think Gunther has been craving to be tested by. And he knows that iron truly sharpens iron, and I think Punk is going to bring the very best version out of Gunther, and I'm so excited for this matchup. Another really interesting thing for me as well is so many of the feuds that CM Punk has been in since he's returned have been very personal. It's been about their history, the way that Drew was treated by Punk many years ago, the way that Seth has felt since Punk stepped aside those years ago, Cena rehashing that. There's none of that in this rivalry. There's none of that. It really truly is between Gunther and Punk. It is truly about who's the best. It's not about personal feelings. It's not about what happened a decade ago. It's about being the very best, and I think Gunther is ready for that test here tonight.
So let's talk about Punk, Wade. And I talked to him yesterday during the kickoff show, and I said to him, it's not often that you get numerous title opportunities for the top prize in the business, the World Heavyweight Championship. He had an opportunity back at Night of Champions for the WWE title. It didn't work out for him. He's got another opportunity here tonight at SummerSlam for the world title. Eventually, those opportunities are going to dry up if you don't capitalize on them. I asked Punk what happens if he loses tonight at SummerSlam. He really didn't have an answer. What do you think?
Yeah, I think a guy like CM Punk, the star level is so great that he will get more opportunities than the average guy in the locker room, and he certainly earned that right. But you're absolutely correct. You take enough L's, and suddenly the people in management decide, I don't think there's enough equity left in people buying this guy actually winning a championship. And if they don't buy that, then they're not going to buy tickets to see it happen. But something I thought was really interesting. I remember obviously sharing a locker room with CM Punk the first time around, 15 or so years ago. That guy wore his cockiness like a suit of armor. There was no pressure, there was no circumstance where he would ever appear in any way nervous. Now, I've been watching, like the rest of the world, WWE Unreal on Netflix, fantastic series. In the lead up to WrestleMania 41 and his main event, he had nerves. He was shaking. He had to have a pep talk from Triple H prior to the match, and he ultimately lost that match. And I don't know if with age, nerves have started to creep in with CM Punk. The doubt has started to creep in. If any of that kicks in tonight, in tonight's main event, he ain't winning.
It's been 12 years since Punk has had a championship here in WWE, and Wade Barrett talked about it, Big E, and I've seen it as well. I believe there is a vulnerability that is being shown in Punk for the very first time in his career. Do you see that as well?
I definitely do, and you alluded to that as well, Wade. This is a man that is not the same version of CM Punk that we knew a decade ago. I think in many ways he's matured. I think his perspective on where he stands in the landscape of our industry has changed as well. Gunther was not someone who was on his radar a decade ago. And that's the thing in WWE is the pool of sharks. We get new sharks coming in. We get the Braun Breakers. We get guys like Gunther. Now, I think Punk is wondering, can I still keep up with these sharks, these new sharks coming in, the guys like Gunther? And I worry that he wonders if he is up to snuff when it comes to being in the ring with a guy like Gunther.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback on what Big E said. I agree with all that. I also think CM Punk is realistically grappling with career mortality. You and I have both been there. We've gone through the light at the end of the tunnel. It's all over for us. CM Punk, sooner or later, that is coming. The chances are slipping away. He ain't a young man anymore. It's a win-now situation for Punk.
Hey, I've retired from in-ring competition as well.
Oh, look, get back in there tonight then, pal. Let's see what you got.
Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, there's plenty more to come here on the Countdown Show. We're going to break everything down as we approach SummerSlam Saturday, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. We'll be right back.
You're gonna make magic at SummerSlam!
Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Naomi, a triple threat match for the Women's World Championship. WWE SummerSlam tomorrow.
Don't do it, Logan! Don't do it!
Please look in the eyes of Logan Paul.
The risk taker ready to take the biggest risk of them all!
Logan Paul just delivered a frog splash onto the Miz.
Stop the match!
Through the announce desk.
Destroyed our table, destroyed perhaps the Miz,
destroyed himself.
Look at this one more time. Logan Paul.
I don't believe it.
From the top rope through the Miz, through the announce table.
Logan Paul is back on his feet.
Trying to get the Miz back in the ring for what might be a merciful pinfall.
Logan Paul.
Maurice now getting involved.
Logan Paul has made his way back. Maurice is now losing her mind. Turn around.
Maurice has might be up to 6 right now. Logan Paul can't believe it.
So it's our first champ, but now Maurice.
Get out the ring. Back it off. Get off. Do your job. Get down. Miz now. Miz has the Polaroid, the chain. He has a necklace around his wrist. No. Oh, my God. Unbelievable. Are you okay? Skull-crushing finale to the cover. 1, 2, 3. Unreal.
happened? Logan Paul just defeated The Miz with his own move.
A frog splash, the likes of which I have never seen.
The Miz tried to utilize the help he could, but take a look at the risk. Take a look at Logan Paul putting it all on the line, risking his health, his well-being. Frog splash through the announce desk. And one last desperate attempt from Maurice, as The Miz tried to strike Logan Paul with that Polaroid. Instead, Paul delivering the skull-crushing finale in the middle of the ring. And once again, the headline reads, Logan Paul was better than The Miz.
Not just a loss, but a humiliation for The Miz at the hands of Logan Paul.
Oh, but imagine the embarrassment, the humiliation. Miz may never want to show his face in public again after this.
If it was AJ Styles training Logan Paul, he did a phenomenal job.
A phenomenal and exceptional performance by Logan Paul.
And he's just getting started.
You're darn right.
Wow. That's how a champ does it.
Hey, it has been quite the week for aspiring WWE superstars. Nearly 50 people had the opportunity to impress WWE coaches at the New Jersey Institute of Technology. 14 countries represented, 13 different languages spoken. Athletes from indie wrestlers to track and field athletes to rugby players to football players, judo, softball, gymnastics, and more. Could one of these be your next WWE superstar? I'm sure we'll find out over the next couple of years. Well, speaking of gymnastics, once a member of Team USA, Tiffany Stratton is now the WWE Women's Champion. Her 8-month title reign continues tonight, or will it, when she defends against the Queen of the Ring, Jade Cargill.
A storm is coming. Let's make things clear.
Look at this power!
Jade Cargill is a once-in-a-lifetime generational talent. I fought through betrayal, injury. I let Naomi distract me.
No holds barred.
Say hello to some comeuppance!
But I'm done with that.
Jade Cargill has never competed for a singles championship in WWE. Here's an opportunity to change that.
Now I'm going for what's mine. The WWE Women's Championship.
Jade Cargill is your Queen of the Ring.
Biggest win of Jade Cargill's singles career. Not only is she Queen of the Ring, she's going to SummerSlam.
At SummerSlam, I will defend my title against the Queen of the Ring, Jade Cargill. Time after time, I've been underestimated.
It is Tiffany time!
I'm just another dumb blonde. I'm naive. I'm too confident.
Tiffany's gonna cash in!
I've heard it all.
Tiffany time is now!
But guess who's standing here as the WWE Women's Champion?
Tiffany Stratton has vaulted herself to the top of the women's division.
Nobody does it better.
Not Trish Stratus.
That is the prettiest moonsault you will ever see.
Not Nia Jax.
Tiffany Stratton is the last woman standing.
Not Charlotte Flair.
It is still Tiffany time. What a WrestleMania performance!
Tiffany Stratton is. After SummerSlam, Jade Cargill is just going to be another name on the long list that Tiffany Stratton has beat.
When I step inside the ring, I give everything. Up for any challenge, I accomplish anything. Right hook, yeah, I'm just throwing punches, standing tall, never ducking. I'ma always fight for something.
Tiffany thinks I'm just another name. Baby girl, I don't just get added to lists. I end them.
Never scared, I'ma always rise above it. So do what you want, they gon' hate it or they love it. No, no other cost, I can never take a loss. What it takes to be boss, no feelings involved. I go to war, call me a conqueror. I break down every door. You gonna hear me roar. Keep us mine, never settle, take it to another level. So you better.
Now the fire and Piper Niven on the attack.
Heavy hitter.
Tiffany Stratton apparently here to save the day.
I didn't need your help. I can hold my own.
When I beat you, I don't want there to be any excuses.
Trust, there won't be. I'm gonna finish what I started.
And with that, I am joined by the WWE Women's Champion, Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany, the moment is almost upon us. Tonight, you defend your title against Jade Cargill. What are your final thoughts?
I cannot lie, Byron. I'm super nervous for tonight. Nobody has Jade's star power or her potential. And tonight, it is my first ever SummerSlam. And I don't think anybody expected me to hold the title this long. But tonight, in New Jersey, I proved to everybody why Tiffany Stratton is the future and the now when I walk out still your WWE Women's Champion.
Tiffany, thank you so much. Good luck tonight.
Well, Tiffany is right. Jade Cargill is a star. In fact, the storm came to Midtown Manhattan earlier this week. The glorious, iconic Empire State Building hosting Jade Cargill, 100 stories high, once the tallest building in the world. Incredible views of the entire New York City metro area, including where we are this afternoon for the Countdown to SummerSlam show, MetLife Stadium. Michael Cole here, of course, Big E, former WWE champion, the man who I will have the pleasure of sitting with at ringside for the next 2 nights to call all of SummerSlam, Wade Barrett. So let's talk about the WWE Women's Championship match. And I want to start with Tiffany Stratton, Wade. 4 years ago was the first time that this young woman ever stepped foot into a WWE ring. What a ride it's been to get to this point in her career in 4 short years.
Yeah, let's put that in perspective, because someone else who debuted in a WWE ring about 4 years ago is another man we'll see competing tonight, Logan Paul, and everyone still to this day calls him an outsider, a newcomer, a guy who's not welcome, this, that, the other. And now, admittedly, Tiffany has been full-time, whereas Logan Paul has kind of dipped in and out. But similarly, 4 years to get to where Tiffany Stratton is at is absolutely insane, first of all. So congratulations, Tiffy. But more than that, the scary thing is we haven't even really scratched the surface on how good Tiffany Stratton is going to get with more and more reps and more years under her belt. Astounded.
So, 8 months, Big E, she's held the championship. She cashed in the Money in the Bank contract back in early January. She's been champion since then, and she even said it in her interview. There are not many people who believe Tiffany Stratton would still be champion at SummerSlam.
Well, she's had such a meteoric rise. You expect at some point that's got to stop. At some point, especially we talk about this women's division ad nauseum, and for a reason. The fact that NXT is so loaded, the main roster is so loaded with women who can very quickly knock her off that perch. But I think in Tiffany Stratton, we've seen someone who's a lot more resilient than a lot of people want to give her credit for. She's had an incredible feud with Nia Jax, but she's looking across the ring tonight at someone who has the power that Nia has, but also the athleticism, the speed. This is a test she's facing tonight in Jade Cargill that is unlike anyone that she's been in the ring with yet.
Well, look at the victories that Tiffany's had over the last 8 months. She's beaten Bayley. She's beaten Nia Jax. She's beaten Charlotte. She's beaten a Hall of Famer in Trish Stratus. And tonight, she could add Jade to the list. Jade Cargill is the queen of the ring, earning this opportunity here at SummerSlam. But guys, this is her first match with an opportunity at a singles title here in WWE. Will that weigh on her tonight?
I think there's inevitable pressure that comes with that. Ultimately, anyone who gets into this game, their goal is to be the champion of the world or the WWE champion one way or another. And I would argue that you talked about the meteoric rise of Tiffany Stratton. I would say that Cargill has had a similarly meteoric rise since arriving in WWE. She came here, she was rough around the edges in the ring. I think there's no secret about that. She dominated in the tag ranks, thanks in large part to being partnered with Bianca Belair. I personally was not convinced that she would be able to dominate in the same way as a singles competitor. I think since Elimination Chamber of this year and the tear she's been on, that's all put away right now. And winning an arduous tournament like the Queen of the Ring, including beating Asuka in the final, is arguably a more difficult prospect than winning one match against Tiffany Stratton to become the WWE Women's Champ.
So speaking of dominating, I want to switch gears now and talk about the tag team match that's going to kick off SummerSlam Saturday tonight. That is the reunion of both Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, family members, once part of the Bloodline, against the upstarts of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman's newfound team. I want to start with Breaker and Bronson, Big E, because these guys have made a major statement this past Monday on Raw when they delivered tsunamis to Uso and Roman, and then Braun Breaker spearing Jey Uso and Roman Reigns both together through a barricade. Are they ready for this moment?
They're absolutely ready. I love seeing how confident they are. Even just, we talk about the taking of the shoes over and over. But I see a Bronson Reed that is finally fulfilling the promise. I think a lot of people have been excited about what he can do in our industry for quite some time. I feel like now he is his most confident. I see a Braun Breaker as well, who is having his very best run of his career. A guy who is truly ready. These two guys are dangerous. And I think in many ways, people worried about the direction of this faction now that Seth Rollins is out with this injury. But I think the opportunity with Seth being out has forced those two to step up. They've had to carry this thing, and they've done it with a lot of confidence. I think they're very prepared tonight. And I think when you have that much talent, the one thing you have to make sure you have when you're in the ring with a guy like Roman Reigns and Jey Uso is, are you confident? Are you mentally prepared for it? And I think they're there tonight.
You know, Paul Heyman, the master manipulator, tried to do a masterful job on Monday Night Raw, gaslighting Jey Uso, basically saying, why on earth would you team again with Roman Reigns, a guy who abused you for 4 years, used you, took advantage of you? And Jey had a great retort, Wade. He said, listen, I left that situation. I left that abusive relationship, and I went on to become a world champion. And Jey said he's confident enough in his own skin now to once again team with Roman Reigns.
Well, Jey Uso has grown massively over the past 2 years, as we've all saw. He was always in the shadow of Roman Reigns, and there's no shame in that. I think today he's as equal with Roman Reigns as he has ever been, and that gives Jey a certain level of confidence. And what we are getting tonight is a team who are the established main eventers against two young up-and-coming whippersnappers. The problem is the up-and-comers have the form. We saw what they did to Roman and Jey on Raw this week, absolutely trashed them. But the key is, form is temporary, class is permanent. And Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker need to be very careful for the backlash tonight.
Plenty more to talk about this in just a few moments, but there is someone out here that is, trying to, get the rub from both you and Big E. She's out with us here tonight, none other than our own Jackie Redmond with what you need to know.
Cole, thank you so much. Listen, you know I love my stats, so let's get right to it. Here's what you need to know heading into night one of SummerSlam. We will start with the 14-time women's champion. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm getting the rub from the crowd, Cole. That's good enough for me. But like I said, I'll start with Charlotte Flair, whose name, of course, is synonymous with winning titles. In fact, it was Alexa Bliss who just a few years ago asked the question, who is Charlotte Flair without a championship? We're getting a small glimpse into that reality right now. Charlotte has not held a title of any kind since April of 2023. It's a span of over 2 years, but SummerSlam has been very good to the Queen. Her 5 wins are the most of any female superstar in SummerSlam history. We'll see if that trend continues tonight. And how about Tiffany Stratton? You guys were just talking about her. She is currently the longest reigning champion on the WWE roster at 211 days. Not only that, the woman is undefeated in 2025, sporting a sparkling 13-0 record with 1 no contest. In fact, she has the most wins without a loss of any superstar on the roster this year. But do not sleep on one Jade Cargill. She's on an impressive run of her own. She's 3-0 in one-on-one competition at premium live events. So I guess what I'm saying, boys, something's got to give, right? Someone has to lose this match. I've never been a weather girl, but if I was one, I would say there could be a severe storm warning taking place tonight at MetLife. Elsewhere, I've used this stat in every installment of this segment, and I'm not going to stop now because it's too good. Nobody, and I do mean nobody, has been more dominant than the ring general Gunther since he debuted on the main roster. Dude's record is 53-4. He is very difficult to beat, but of course CM Punk will attempt to do that very thing tonight and win his first WWE Championship in over a decade. Last, but certainly not least, they're reunited and it feels so good. The Tribal Chief Roman Reigns teaming up with main event Jey Uso to take on, I guess we're calling them the Braun Brawns. I don't know, but regardless, if experience is a factor in this match, it absolutely favors the Bloodline. Get this. Tonight marks Jey Uso's 60th tag team match at a premium live event. Yes, you heard that correctly. 6-0. To put that in perspective for you, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker have a combined 11 tag team matches in general, overall, in WWE and NXT combined. So I'd say the advantage goes to Roman and Jey. Of course, it is important to note as we wrap this up, though, that Roman Reigns is not only without the wise man, Paul Heyman is working with the op. We'll see if that's a factor tonight, Cole, as I send it back to you. How'd I do?
Thanks a lot, Jackie. And you know, you're talking about numbers. Let's not forget one of the most impressive numbers in recent history in WWE. Roman Reigns' over 4-year reign as the undisputed champion. So let's break this down, and I want to get your picks tonight. Big E, the match that kicks off the show. Jey Uso, Roman Reigns against Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker. Who wins?
I can't pick against our Tribal Chief. We got Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. That's my winner.
Wade?
I think with success, you get soft in this game. Two of these guys have been really successful. The other two, young and hungry, and we're going to get ourselves a big old tsunami!
You know, I sort of agree with Wade on this. Roman's been out of action since WrestleMania. Jey Uso, of course, has been on a hot streak, but Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed have looked unstoppable. And I still cannot get out of my head that image from Raw Monday night when Braun Breaker delivered that spear to Jey Uso and Roman Reigns through the barricade, and then Bronson Reed, like a high school bully, ripped the sneakers off his feet and walked away. The tribal thief, as Paul Heyman calls him. Well, WWE Evolve reporter Chewy Martinez visited the WWE Superstore here in East Rutherford a little bit earlier today.
WWE fam, how you doing? Chewy Martinez, and here we are, New Jersey, SummerSlam weekend, and we're asking fans what they copped outside, so let's go. Hey, what'd you buy, bro? What'd you cop? What'd you cop? What'd you cop? Nice, man. Look at that, boy.
Every time you go to a PLE, you gotta get some PLE official merchandise.
Got to.
All right?
You got to.
You got the cream SummerSlam New Jersey.
This is fire. This is fire. What'd you guys get?
Eliminated Ditch and John Cena.
I love it. That's his. That's his.
Number 117 belts in our collection.
Really? Where do you store them?
In our man cave.
Got the Chelsea Green autograph photo.
There we go.
And this guy believes in somebody.
Joe Hendry.
Hello. What'd you get?
Kurt Angle belt.
Wow.
North American Championship and the Bella Twins.
The Bella Twins. Get over here, Penta. Get over here, Penta. You guys have the helmet in the box. We don't know who signed it. We're gonna find out right now, live on the show. Let's go. LA Knight. Yeah. There you go. There you go.
The Jade Cargill Funko Pop.
I got a couple of the Mattel Creations Cena figures for the kids. I got
for the kids or for you, Dad? Come on.
Well, I got one each. One for me and one for the kids.
That belt is bigger than you, bro.
It is.
Is it heavy?
Yeah. It hurts my shoulder.
I didn't see anybody walking out of there with any Michael Cole gear.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Hey, Jelly Roll will make his WWE in-ring debut tonight. He was a guest on the What's Your Story podcast with Stephanie McMahon.
Because I got fat really young, like really, really young. Was over 300 pounds coming out of middle school. I'm going to be under 300 pounds for the first time since middle school the night I walked to that ring at SummerSlam.
That's amazing.
That's an exclusive here. I haven't said that nowhere. My goal is for the first time since middle school, I will be under 300 pounds for the first time since I was, we're talking about literally now 30
like fifth,
years.
sixth grade?
Literally.
Wow. Congratulations.
Literally, and I should be
That's amazing.
under 300 pounds. I mean, I'm doing the work. It ain't no way it ain't. You know what I mean?
Well, good luck to Jelly Roll, and Stephanie McMahon will be a part of the SummerSlam Countdown show still to come here this afternoon as we head toward the biggest party of the summer, the first time ever, tonight, SummerSlam.
Welcome to the official Riyadh season opening ceremony 2024.
Live from Riyadh.
Crown Jewel.
Hey, we're outside MetLife Stadium, home to the Jets, and tonight, home to SummerSlam Saturday. This is the Countdown Show, and joining us, the voice of Friday Night SmackDown, our good buddy Joe Tessitore, somewhere in the stadium. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Michael, good afternoon to you. Yeah, that somewhere is right here on the loading dock to MetLife Stadium. We've been enjoying watching the superstars arrive over the past few hours, and something just feels right when WWE is here in the tri-state area. Origin stories are the richest stories, and when it comes to the origin stories of WWE, so many of the seeds are planted here, whether it's the headquarters of Connecticut, not far away, of course, just across the river at Madison Square Garden, where those seeds were Bruno Sammartino and the sellout streak, the advent of Hulkamania, WrestleMania 1, or right here in North Jersey, in East Rutherford, where for the fourth time now, SummerSlam has arrived.
The sun's blazing and things are heating up like never before, so fill out your RSVPs because there's only one way to cool down with the biggest party of the summer. Whether it's at Barclays, East Rutherford, Uniondale, or Madison Square Garden, New York and New Jersey have combined to host SummerSlam 11 times, so there's no better place for the biggest party of the summer than right here at MetLife with the first ever
epic two-night SummerSlam.
So with more in attendance than ever before, you can be certain everything will be taken to a whole new level. The inaugural event was held at the world's most famous arena,
Madison Square Garden,
where we saw Macho Madness align with Hulkamania to create the Mega Powers.
The madness and the mania together
set the stage for many iconic moments to come. We've seen some of our favorite superstars capture their first taste of WWE gold.
You got a new champion! What a moment for Legion of Doom! The inaugural Universal Champion! A newly crowned Intercontinental Champion!
We witnessed a match made in heaven.
This night will be remembered forever! That's what it's all about right there! A kiss seen around the world! There he is!
Enjoyed inspirational returns.
I always hope Shawn Michaels can get back in the ring. Welcome back, the King, Triple H.
And saw the shocking moment Becky Lynch finally broke out of Charlotte Flair's shadow to become the man.
Becky, that's your best friend. Was the best friend.
We've experienced some of the most heated rivalries in WWE history.
At the biggest party of the summer.
And one so hot, both competitors fought all the way down the highway to hell.
My God, they're broken in half.
After so many years of amazing action and unbelievable atmosphere like no other, this year's show is poised to be groundbreaking, history-making, and there's no place on earth more appropriate than right here in New Jersey for yet another incredible SummerSlam.
And when you're here at MetLife, you do get the sense that this grand cathedral of sports entertainment really is the kind of venue that plays internationally. It can play to all audiences. Of course, it will be host to the FIFA World Cup a year from now. It has hosted the Super Bowl. But there's a familiarity today when you're in this building, when you look around and you see this audience that spans generations, that has been with the WWE on this journey for so many years, whether it's Brooklyn, Long Island, Midtown with MSG, or here in North Jersey, the WWE Universe gathers now for the 12th time a SummerSlam has been in New York, New Jersey, Michael.
Well, thanks a lot, Joe. Joe will be back with us on the Countdown Show, and also Joe will be a part of our post-SummerSlam coverage. Thank you, everybody.
Stop it, please!
The one thing I do want to say is I get what Joe's saying about the history and the generations of folks who have been a part of WWE here in the New York area. This is going to be my 28th SummerSlam here tonight. I've been privileged and honored to be a part of all that. And this all started in the late 1970s. I had the opportunity to stay up to midnight as a young kid with my grandmother. We would watch Bruno Sammartino on Channel 9, WOR, at midnight on Saturday night. So I've been along for the journey, so I'm just privileged and honored to be a part of all this in New Jersey here tonight. Thank you. Let's talk about the women's tag team championship tonight. And I want to start with Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez of the Judgment Day, the current tag team champs. Big E undefeated since they teamed together when Liv Morgan left with injury.
Absolutely. And I want to talk a bit about the rise of Raquel Rodriguez. I think people have been understandably critical of Raquel. Look, I remember back to NXT, she was in many ways kind of put in the same class as a Rhea and a Bianca, but the bar is so high with those two. And I think people were waiting for her to earn that positioning to be a rightful third. And look, Kevin Nash, I think a few weeks ago, was very critical of Raquel, and said that she needed to work bigger. And what I loved was the way that Raquel received that. She didn't complain, she didn't whine, she didn't run from it. She said, if that's what Kevin Nash believes, I'm going to take that to heart, I'm going to start working bigger. And then immediately, within like a week of me seeing those comments, I saw a real change in Raquel. Seeing her match with Rhea at Night of Champions, even in a loss, that was the best version I had seen up until then. At Evolution as well, seeing how sharp she was, I'm telling you, this version of Raquel is someone she should be really proud of.
And we know what Kevin Nash means to Raquel. I mean, there's a reason that she calls herself Big Mommy Cool, right?
Absolutely.
So nonetheless, let's go back to Sam Roberts with the tag champs.
Thanks, guys. They're here. We're at SummerSlam, and we're with the tag team champions. Now, the chemistry that you two have built has been remarkable and quick, but the chemistry that your opponents has developed has also been fairly remarkable, and that's a chemistry that I think has better captured the imagination of the audience. Do you think that the momentum that has built, it puts those championships in even more danger tonight?
I mean, first of all those people in the audience are idiots, so I don't even know why you would value their opinion at all.
Yeah, I knew that Jersey was going to be bad, but this judgment of character, ugh.
Also, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss have never been tag team champions together. We have.
And defended.
Defended and retained. And I actually don't think that Charlotte Flair has ever held a tag team title in her life.
Can she even work with anyone?
Yeah, I don't think so. So we're gonna walk into SummerSlam as tag team champions, and we're gonna walk out of SummerSlam as tag team champions. Because as Jersey's own Liv Morgan would say, we're the greatest tag team champions of all time.
A lot of confidence. Will that do the trick? Guys, back to you.
Well, Charlotte Flair has been a tag team champion, but tonight teaming for the first time ever with a woman who's won 3 tag team titles, Alexa Bliss. Wade, you have followed them on Friday Night SmackDown. What is this deal? Are they friends or not?
I think the case is they are two unhappy bedfellows who just so happen to have hit magic together. And I think the brilliance of Alexa Bliss, who is a complete weirdo, by the way, very strange character, clearly very successful, but she has somehow Jedi mind-tricked a very unhappy Charlotte into being the best version of herself once again. And a happy Charlotte is a very dangerous Charlotte, because that's when she's at her best in the ring, and that's when she wins gold.
And a lot of memories in this stadium for Charlotte Flair. Let's not forget what happened back at WrestleMania 35 when Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, and Becky Lynch became the first women to ever main event a WrestleMania. Charlotte still gets very emotional when talking about that moment, and she wants to rekindle magic here tonight.
I mean, the milestones in her career, we can go on and on. The amount of world championships she's won, the amount of main events. She's someone that it's odd to not see her with a title. And I think that's why this match here tonight means so much for her. This, like you said, I don't think Alexa wants to team with Charlotte. I don't think Charlotte wants to team with Alexa, but they need each other to get where they want to be in their career. And, you know, regardless of whether they're friends or not, I think they're going to work well tonight because it means so much to have championship gold around their waist once again.
And I would argue that a large part of the reason why Charlotte hasn't tended to do much in the tag ranks historically is because there really haven't been virtually any women that are at the same level as her. I would argue Alexa Bliss, with all her accomplishments, is right there shoulder to shoulder with someone like Charlotte Flair. So I think that was the crucial moment when Charlotte thought, yeah, I'll team up with her. Let's see if we can make a run for the gold.
And it's interesting the experience that Charlotte and Alexa have in these big stages, especially SummerSlam. Charlotte's 5-1 at SummerSlam. Alexa Bliss second all time in wins at SummerSlam when it comes to the women's division. For Raquel and Roxanne, it's their first time under the bright lights of SummerSlam. Yeah, they're undefeated as the tag team champions, but will that experience, Big E, come into play tonight?
Experience definitely matters, but when I look at Roxanne, she's only 23 years old, but she has not carried herself like someone who is that young. She has the maturity of someone she's been doing this for a long time. She trained in her teens. She has wanted this since she was a little girl, so I think she's not going to be deterred by any of that. And look, Raquel is also fairly new to this level of stage, but I think they're both going to be very ready for this challenge here tonight.
And Wade, as we saw at Evolution, Raquel and Roxanne were up for it when they took on 3 of the top teams in WWE and able to survive with the tag titles.
Yeah, and it's kind of hilarious anytime a champion in this game is being portrayed as the underdog or underdogs in this case. There's usually a major backlash from those champions. Like, wait a second, we have the gold. This match is built around us. This division is built around us, and we are winning tonight. Let's put a marker down and show the world that we are never underdogs.
The other factor is the fact that the Judgment Day has all the gold right now. The men's tag team titles with Finn and JD. Of course, Dominic Mysterio defends the Intercontinental Championship tomorrow night. And Raquel and Roxanne do not want to start the weekend off on a bad note for the group by losing the title. So we're going to have to see what happens tonight. Again, women's tag team titles on the line. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus Raquel and Roxanne at SummerSlam. Earlier today, Peter Rosenberg was roaming around the stadium, I guess to use the immortal words of the great Bob Uecker. You must be in the front row.
In the shadows of the greatest city in the world, New York City, rests MetLife Stadium in beautiful East Rutherford, New Jersey. This place will be rocking in just a little while for SummerSlam. And I'm telling you right now, you could sit anywhere in this big, glorious building, but the experience you will have up here in the seats furthest away from the ring is where you will find the realest wrestling fans on planet Earth. By the way, you got everything you need up here. You got food, you got snacks, you have merch, and not only that, you have a beautiful view of a regular Rutherford, New Jersey, and so many other things just beyond outside MetLife Stadium. We want to show you what the entire experience is like, and rest assured, if you're coming to the building, you're sitting here, you will have an incredible view of what happens inside that ring tonight at SummerSlam. Back to you guys.
Hey, why do none of our backstage reporters have hair? Sam Roberts, Peter Rosenberg, and this man, Byron Saxton, who's in the Cricket Fan Zone.
Craziness. There's a lot going on. Check out the booth over there. You could actually have a personalized poster made. We got Rose. What's up, Rose? Looking good today. If you go back there, you can play some WWE trivia. What I'm really looking forward to is something I kind of just created just now. We're calling this the Cricket Fan Zone Face-Off. Yep, you hear the people. You hear the people.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you.
So, to my right, we have my man Travis, who is a Gunther fan. Clearly not very popular right now, but he's enjoying the lack of adulation. And then we have Harper, who is a CM Punk fan. So, okay. Travis, tell the people why Gunther is going to retain his World Heavyweight title tonight.
All right, Gunther is retaining tonight because CM Punk, he might be the best in the world, but that is before he fought Gunther. He's never fought Gunther before, and his old, fragile body will not be able to handle those chops. He won't be able to handle the chops.
Oh, wow. That's a deep cut right there, Travis.
Yep.
Harper, what do you have to say?
So I think CM Punk's gonna win because he's the best in the world, and I feel like he needs to finish his story against Gunther at SummerSlam this year.
So I think the winner of this face-off is Harper. World Heavyweight title on the line. Is it going to be Gunther? Is it going to be CM Punk? We'll find out later on tonight. But guys, it is going to be an exciting, exciting evening. In fact, let's get some other predictions here. What we got behind me? How about the big tag team match tonight? Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. I see, watch out Travis, step aside here. I see a Roman Reigns fan. Tell me, why do you think Roman and Jay are going to walk out victorious?
I think they're gonna walk out victorious because Bronson Reed and
Braun Breaker?
yeah, they're not gonna handle. They can't handle that.
They can't handle it. They can't handle it. That's the word, okay? Let's see what else we got here. How about Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship? Hold on. Okay, who's your pick?
Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill. Why is that?
She is a powerhouse, and she's coming up, and she is ready for this fight. She's ready to beat anyone that gets in her way.
Woo! Oh, those are fight. Is it Tiffy time?
Tiffy time! It's Tiffy time!
Okay.
Her time!
This is why I love this, okay? Everybody's unhinged. It's nuts. We're going to continue the debate here at the Cricket Fan Zone. You guys continue the debate at home. And you know what? We got more of the Countdown Show to come. So stay with us.
An absolutely incredible scene. This is what World Wrestling Entertainment is all about.
WWE Clash in Paris, Sunday, August 31st. Tickets on sale now.
All is wonderful in Judgment Day. Liv Morgan, of course, out for a number of months with a shoulder injury, so Roxanne Perez has replaced her.
You better hold up your end of the deal, Chiquita.
I ain't scared of nobody. When I'm saying nobody, I'm including nobody.
I got you, partner. Too soon.
Roxanne Perez getting used to tagging alongside Raquel Rodriguez, still trying to really earn her stripes as part of the Judgment Day.
At only 23 years old, I'm already one of the most dangerous competitors on this roster.
Gotta be impressed with how quickly Roxanne and Raquel have gelled as a team. Everything within the Judgment Day right now is coming up gold.
Hi, Charlotte. Let's chat.
What are we doing here?
Alexa Bliss out here to attack the Secret Hermits. What is this got to do with you, Bliss?
I don't need friends.
We should be tag partners. I'm not trying to be your friend. Think of it as allies of convenience.
There is only room for one queen in this division. Just don't get in my way.
How many times do I have to...
My God, Charlotte. I know. We're not friends.
Yeah, Charlotte loves anything that glitters, and clearly Alexa spoke to Charlotte in a language of championships.
Twisted Bliss, the pat on the head made her legal. It almost seems like they're starting to get along.
Just because I'm in a team doesn't mean I'm not Charlotte Flair anymore.
Charlotte Flair pulled Alexa Bliss out of the way at a critical moment.
That's why I went to Adam Pearce and I got us a tag team title match at SummerSlam.
Raquel and Roxanne will defend the women's tag team titles against SmackDown's Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam.
Charlotte, Alexa, I hope you're comfy because that is what's gonna happen to you at SummerSlam.
I didn't have Lexi and I tagging on my 2025 bingo card. I have to say I respect her, even if she's super annoying.
I will give it to her. Charlotte hasn't been half bad, and she's had my back when I've needed it.
That certainly feels like friendship to me.
Maybe after we become champions of SummerSlam, I'll think about it.
Undisputed super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez faces undefeated three-division king Terrence Bud Crawford in a historic clash that transcends titles on Saturday, September 13th at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Tickets on sale now only at Ticketmaster.com. But tonight, of course, it's all about MetLife Stadium and the first of a two-night SummerSlam. I am so excited. We are about 2 hours away from kicking off night one of the biggest party of the summer here in New Jersey. And Drew McIntyre has made it to North America. We weren't sure he'd be able to get here.
Always tweeting, though. My man Drew, you know he's on social as we speak.
Social media king, one Drew McIntyre. Speaking of social media, Logan Paul, no stranger to the social platforms. He has arrived looking confident. He looks like he's about to enter a boxing ring the way he's walking in.
No stranger to PLEs either, that guy.
No, and tonight will mark his 18th match at a premium live event tonight. He's in tag team action to take on the legendary Randy Orton, who has come to the aid of international country music sensation, among other things, Jelly Roll.
Oh, yeah.
Who is looking svelte, if I do say so myself. He's having a good time. He is checking off a bucket list item tonight when he steps into the ring at SummerSlam. I am so excited for that match to see what transpires. I know Jelly Roll has been doing 2-a-days. He's eating well. He's got a massage therapist traveling with him. Like, he is all business when it comes to this match. Welcome back to the countdown to SummerSlam here outside of MetLife. Jackie Redmond taking over for Michael Cole. Peter Rosenberg joins us on the panel. And my guy, Big E, rocking that forest green like nobody's business.
You recognize.
I'm so excited, especially because we get 2 nights of this, and the crowd seems pretty good.
Oh, well, listen, hold on. You got to be clear. I need to put on for the city that has been my home, the area that has been my home for now almost 20 years. We may disagree at times. Me and this audience, we may disagree on hip-hop on Hot 97. We may disagree on sports on ESPN New York. But
to be fair, a lot of people disagree with you.
That's what I mean.
Outside the
Correct. But we come together on our love of this thing called professional wrestling. These are some of the best fans on planet Earth. It's going to be a special couple of days.
Yes, sir.
It is. I'm so excited. We got so much to get to, including my sit-down interview with Jelly Roll coming up later in the show. But it's so interesting to me looking at this match and hearing what guys like Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul have to say, and the distaste that they have for Jelly Roll seems, at least for Logan Paul, a little hypocritical, no?
Yeah, and I don't know, E, there's a little smell of jealousy as well.
Ooh, you think?
Now listen, I have jealousy about Jelly Roll as well. He looks tremendous. You've seen the work this man has done. Now, he did it in the ring. He made me just want to go to the first website I could go to and find some Ozempic. But the man has been doing the work in the PC. He's putting in that work, and frankly, I don't see how you can hate on Jelly Roll.
No. Look, he's someone, Logan talks a lot about outsiders. Obviously, Jelly Roll is fairly new to what we do, but I do definitely a tip of the cap to him for going to Orlando. It is not easy. A lot of people, especially celebrities, see what we do and think, oh, this is a piece of cake. But to be in the ring, to be hitting those ropes, to be taking those bumps day in and day out, salute to him, and we'll see if the work comes to fruition here tonight.
I will also say, you know, respect to Jelly Roll, too, for, you know, going on record. I mean, he's been, I think, on every sports show there is in the last few weeks, and he's talked a lot about the respect that he already had for professional wrestling coming into this, but that he's gained by being at the Performance Center and understanding sort of what your body goes through to be able to perform in a match like this. So he's been doing a lot of media. But, you know, Logan Paul has a show of his own, and he recently had Drew McIntyre on the show to talk about this match. So we're going to look at that in a few minutes. But first, you know, I did sit down with Jelly Roll for an exclusive 2-part interview. It was unbelievable. I walked away so inspired. Let's take a look.
You hear me there?
Hey, Jelly! It's been a minute. How are you? It's so good to see you.
Good to be seen.
Dude. This time last year, we were filming a commercial to promote SummerSlam.
Yes.
And now you're in SummerSlam. Like, you have a match.
Yes.
Like, this is kind of insane.
Yes. You know the craziest part is, I was not even close to being ready for a match this time last year when we shot that promo. It just shows you what God can do in a year.
Oh my gosh, a lot can happen in 12 months. You are living proof of that.
Yes, Dad.
You want to shoot the you-know-what? You want to sit down? You want to do this? All right, let's do it.
You.
I'm so excited to see you.
I'm excited to be seen. I'm glad you're here.
You're everywhere, dude.
I feel like I'm everywhere and I want to do everything.
I love it. Well, we have a lot to talk about, and I just want to start with you. I mean, your life to this point has been so well documented, right? But if you could go back to 13-year-old Jelly Roll and tell him that not only are you a global country music superstar, but you also have a match at SummerSlam with WWE, what would 13-year-old you think? Like, what would he say?
Well, 13-year-old me I could imagine him just losing his mind about us doing wrestling and then him being extremely confused how we ended up in the music business at all.
So 13-year-old you was a bigger wrestling fan than music fan, so to speak.
Huge music fan too, but wrestling was, you know, it was a thing. It's like 13-year-old me is walking out of the Municipal Auditorium. I just watched The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. If I'm telling that kid he's wrestling at SummerSlam, he's jumping out of his skin.
You know, you wear so many hats, right? You're a father, you're a husband, you're a musician, an artist, a man of faith. Now you're stepping into a WWE ring. I mean, you've kind of already got it all. You've got fame, you've got success, you've got money. Why are you doing this? Like, what is this about for you?
I think this is about belief, just believing in myself. And this is about wanting to, selfishly, it's about wanting to be a part of just such a beautiful moment that's happening in wrestling right now anyways. I love this business, you know what I mean? Like, I want to just bring value. I'm not here to take nothing away. I don't want to take nobody's spot. I want to bring value. I think this is one of the greatest ages of storytelling I've seen in wrestling history. Like this decade, we're gonna talk about it like we talk about the Attitude Era. I believe that, you know what I mean? I'm as passionate about how big wrestling is right now as I was 5 years ago, 6 years ago when I started telling everybody, hey man, country music's fixing to be the biggest genre in the world.
Yeah.
Nope, they thought I was saying the sky was falling. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm telling y'all, it's fixing to have the biggest moments it's ever had. It's like, that's what's happening in wrestling. And this is getting personal, but this was my North Star in my journey. And I got to do SummerSlam last year, and I never felt nothing like I felt that night. Afterwards, I was like, I gotta get in shape. And I'm going, if I lose another 100 pounds here, if I lose the weight, y'all, please let me take a match. I'll do anything. I'll dedicate myself to it. I'll do it right, I promise. And Triple H was like, we love you, man. You get healthy, brother. We want to see you get healthy. We love you. So just whatever, you know, if that's it, come holler.
Because you care so much about this product and this business, do you feel a little bit of the pressure as a global celebrity to sort of deliver? Do you feel that?
Well, first of all, This has awoken something in me that I didn't know was there. I'm a 40-year-old man that lost hundreds of pounds to try to get this opportunity.
Man, I hope y'all are getting out and moving today. It's worth the sacrifice, y'all. It's worth the pain.
I'm gonna keep this pace for like a lot longer than I think people think I'm going to. I've never lifted a weight in my life.
Never.
Never.
Not even in jail.
I've never lifted a weight. I have no background in anything athletic. You know, like I'm learning so much about my body and what it can do and how resilient it is and how strong it is and how much my heart's getting stronger and my lungs and my mind's getting more clear. And I had to look at self-doubt as a form of fear. And then I had to realize that I had to quit running from the things that scared me and run towards them, because that's where the magic is.
It's like the stuff that scares you is really what makes you alive in a lot of ways, or at least makes you feel alive.
I've never felt more alive than right now. I spent the last 5 years of my life more successful than I've ever been and so morbidly obese I was dying. Miserable, sad. You couldn't hide it in my eyes. I was smiling and trying to be joyful, but you could see it clear as day. I was scared of change, but it's the fear of it that just makes me know I'm doing the right thing. I'm not dying, I'm living right now. I've never felt more alive. This is my heart finally pushing itself to grow. It's getting stronger. I don't know what I thought was gonna awaken in me, but this has lit a fire in me, more passionate than anything I've ever done.
You talk about finding something at 40 that you're super excited about, that's like lit something in you. And it feels like it's done that for Randy Orton, albeit in a different way. But you do have Logan Paul on the other side. You know we have to talk about this guy. Like, you know this question's coming.
Yeah, Jelly Roll knew the Logan Paul questions were coming, and let me tell you, he got fired up talking about Logan Paul. We'll show you part 2 of that sit-down interview coming up later in the Countdown Show, but we go from one celebrity in Jelly Roll to another one that has done us a great service of joining us here on the panel. Drewski is in the house. What's up?
Beam it home!
Yes!
Beam it home, baby! What up?
Give it up for Drewski.
Yeah!
My guy, you are everywhere
Hey,
right now. You got a tour
be.
of your own coming up. You're here at MetLife for SummerSlam.
Yes.
You were just on Justin Bieber's surprise album. I mean, life is good.
Yes, life is good. And who out here coming to Coulda Fest? Okay,
well, tell them who's on Coulda Fest.
Yeah, hold
you
on.
got to set it up right.
Y'all ain't excited enough. Who out here coming to Coulda Fest? They're definitely lying. But yes.
Tell them about this
y'all
tour,
go get
though.
tickets to Coulda Fest, man. It's a huge tour, big arena tour coming. Me, Big X, Young and May, Soulja Boy, Caleb Presley, Nav Green, first comedy and music tour this year. So y'all, we're super excited for that, man. Y'all got to go get y'all tickets too.
Now, we've seen...
Oh, he ain't getting his tickets.
I will get a ticket. I'll go.
Thank you.
I'm
Come
hitting
on,
up.
bro.
Thank
Berg,
you.
you can't
Yeah,
just
'cause
brush
he's-
past
yeah,
that.
this
No,
guy.
I'm going to hit up his team and get free tickets.
Yeah, that's all good.
He knows,
I get it.
He knows the vibes. Now, let's talk about this, though. We just saw Jelly Roll and all the work he's putting in.
Yes.
You are an incredibly entertaining dude, as Jackie said, has done so many things. Would you ever entertain hitting the gym down at the Performance Center and attempting a little moment in the ring one day?
We might got to see who want to see me in the ring.
They want to see that more than the tour. They want to see you in the ring.
No, I just like doing that. I don't know. I just keep doing it. Nah, maybe so. Maybe so. I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know.
Can you talk a little bit about your process? Because I see a lot of people online, they talk about, like, do you have a sociology degree? Your understanding of people, I'm telling you, is so spot on, whether it's the youth pastor, whatever it is.
Yes.
But I feel like you nail people in a way that a lot of comedians don't.
Oh, man. Just a lot of people watching. That's what I do. A lot of people watching. But yeah, no, I think I've been doing this for a long time, man, so I just get better every day. I don't know.
Will you be like walking down the street and see a situation and go,
Yes.
all right, that
Yes, and I
immediately-
write it in my notes immediately, and I'm like, all right, that's my next skit right there.
Oh,
And
that's
right
cool.
now, looking at y'all, this might be my next skit right here.
Who did it for you?
I'm
Was
gonna
it
have to
Eve?
put a
Was
suit
it
on next time I come up here, man.
I like the overall look.
Yes,
Overalls
it's
are
a cool
back.
look.
They're in.
Thank
Have you ever been to a SummerSlam before? Have you ever been to an event like this? Or is this the first
Yes,
time
I've
for
been to
you?
WrestleMania last year. Who coming to WrestleMania?
Sorry. I gotta keep going.
It's in Las Vegas. They
I
make
just like doing it. I like doing it. All right, sorry.
What was that like, though? Because you were my man was in the good seats. Michael Rubin,
Yes.
all the celebs in the
Yes.
front. You were right there. What was that experience like?
It felt good, man. You know, I didn't know how serious and real it got down there. I was kind of surprised by, like, you know, I seen people jumping and flying off the top ropes and, like, tackling each other. So I didn't know it get real down there. I honestly didn't know. I didn't believe it at first, but when I came, I see how crazy it get. Yes.
Now, are you bringing back the reality show? Because Could Have Been Records, you guys are out here, you're finding artists, you're making stars.
Yes.
You're not only a comedian, you're a record executive.
Yes.
Is the reality show coming back as well?
Yes, it is coming back, and we are now shooting Could Have Been Love Season 2.
Could Have Been
For
Love.
the ladies. So I'm looking for love again. It didn't work out the first time, but it's gonna work out the second. Yeah.
If at first you don't succeed, try again, right?
Yes.
That's what they say.
I
Well,
get it.
listen, we appreciate you coming up here
Thank
and
y'all.
hanging out with us. I'd be remiss as the Canadian on the panel if I didn't ask you about working with Justin Bieber. I know it's not wrestling related, but is my guy funny? Is he a funny
he's
dude?
a good guy, man. Justin Bieber, JB, man. Who rocks with JB? Yeah!
All right, we do
All right,
need this
yeah.
man to cut
Thank
a
y'all,
promo
thank
at
y'all.
some
All right,
point.
last one. You think
Yeah.
Jelly Roll gets the win tonight? Did Jelly Roll and Randy Orton do it?
What y'all think? Who gonna win tonight?
This man's ready to put on a show.
Who gonna win tonight?
Thank you.
Some of them saying me. I think they think I'm funny. I don't know.
Surprise entrant, maybe.
Thank y'all,
Listen,
thank y'all,
Drewski, thank you so much.
thank you.
Hey, go get tickets to his tour. All right, listen, we appreciate Drewski in the house for night 1 of SummerSlam here at MetLife. The countdown continues. We are less than 2 hours away from kicking things off. We're going to take a quick break, but more countdown after this.
That's a real friend.
Welcome to my home, the Big Island.
Another glorious day in paradise. Because it's always beautiful and warm here.
This is how a champion's supposed to live.
It's just not another nice day at the beach.
Put a little zinc oxide on my nose. It's starting to get a sunburn.
Looks like there's some trouble in paradise. Looks like we've got some uninvited guests.
That's some kind of a
Move.
beach bully, man.
Let me out!
Stand up.
So much for fun in the sun.
Oh, Aquaman! Splashdown! As Michelangelo would say, cowabunga.
Good God, man.
Oh, it's a summer spectacular. I love summer. Cannonball!
I scream, you scream, not ice cream.
Who wants some sweet satisfaction?
Can summer get any hotter?
Shaka.
Everyone you have cheered for, I have beaten your best.
When that hits zero, this championship comes home with me. There will be no one ever worthy enough to earn the right to hold this again.
Enough! I don't want to fight a guy who's counting the days until he's out the door. At SummerSlam, I want to fight the real John Cena.
Hold on, Cody. I am not going to be at SummerSlam. I am filming a big movie for Netflix in New York City.
We'll let you get to work,
I am
my man.
emotionally
Back
exhausted.
to you guys.
This was what's best for business right now. There is no way that I can sign this contract.
John Cena forced me to make a choice, and I hesitated. I did not flinch when I returned at WrestleMania and I came back home. I did not flinch when I stood across from a future Hall of Famer with a muscle hanging off the bone. I did not flinch when I went back-to-back at the Royal Rumble. I did not flinch when I faced my mentor, Randy Orton. And I did not flinch when the final boss came for my soul. Just the fine print at SummerSlam. It's a street fight.
Thank you. That was just the boot in the ass that I needed. You forced me into a fight. If I don't show up for war, I shouldn't show up at all.
Welcome back, John Cena.
We get to see Cody Rhodes face off against the greatest of all time at my best.
I was born to do this. At SummerSlam, I want all the hustle, loyalty, and respect.
SummerSlam is brought to you in part by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. And I can confirm I've seen plenty of Papa John's backstage. All boxes empty. All right, to tonight's event, night one here at MetLife. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso have reunited to take on Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed in tag team action. That match, by the way, will kick off festivities here tonight at MetLife. Here's how we got to this point.
Oh my God! Paul Heyman, you son of a...
I give to you the future of this entire industry. Braun Breaker? That was just stage one.
Big Bronson Reed!
You are either with us or you become a target.
The OTC is MIA. And after tonight, Jey Uso will be MIA.
The OTC is back!
The sins of Paul Heyman are about to haunt him.
Acknowledge me. Seth Rollins is going to be out of action for a long time. That opens up a leadership void over here. We're better together than opposing each other. You'll always be my family because I love you, my tribal chief.
I would have said those are wise words from a wise man, but
You're not a wise man anymore. He's about to do the same thing to you as he did to me.
Paul won't stab me in the back. I hold value. You're worthless.
I didn't hear any of that trash you just said. I honestly don't think your mic was working. If you need to say it again, please use mine.
Superman punch! And Breaker with a spear! And Heyman wants more damage done. I'm gonna pull up for my family every single time. That bloodline that still run deep my veins.
I have a plan. We're gonna restore ultimate power over all of WWE.
This all used to be yours. It's mine now. This ring you're in.
This is my ring.
This is my ring now. This cameraman right here.
This is my cameraman.
It's my cameraman. He works for me.
Oh, it's been intense between those four as we see some members of the crowd here outside MetLife subtly yeeting coming out of that package as we welcome you back to the countdown to SummerSlam. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso have reunited to take on the Bronze, as we like to say backstage. You know, it's interesting watching that package and seeing someone like Braun Breaker trying to use the same sort of emotional manipulation tactics that we did, in fact, see Roman Reigns use on Jey Uso not that long ago.
Yeah, how quickly things change, huh? And now all of a sudden we see Roman Reigns and Jey Uso relying on each other once again.
Yeah.
E, I'm going to ask you, as someone who is to a first ballot Hall of Famer, greatest tag team of all time at one point, how quickly can you find that camaraderie again? These guys have been apart for a long time. A lot has happened. Jey Uso has become a single star, a world champion. How easy will it be for them to gel?
I think their situation is a little bit different than most, though, because they're family. Like, these two, they grew up together, not just cousins and like we saw each other from time to time, but you can look back at a catalog of pictures of those guys. They legitimately grew up together. So that kinship, that bond of being family, they're named the Bloodline for a reason. It's not just a moniker. It's very real. That family connection, I think, will allow them to get back on the same page just like that. And when you've been through ups and downs with someone like that, when you've been, like, the height of Jay's career before the singles run was probably his time in the Bloodline.
Sure.
You know, to have your highest moments and some of your lowest moments as well were because of Roman Reigns. I think that shared history, not only growing up together, but having so many ups and downs in the ring together, I think that has formed a kind of deep bond, maybe a trauma bond in many ways, but I think their connection is one that they can very quickly get back on the same page.
Well, what about the Paul Heyman of it all? Because Roman Reigns, of course, now without his wise man, Paul Heyman, working with the opposition as we go into this match. Do you think that becomes some sort of an issue for Roman and Jey in this match? Because he's always up to something.
Well, I think the biggest issue is from a scouting standpoint. I mean, there is no one in the world who knows the Bloodline better, and specifically these members of the Bloodline, Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, better than Paul Heyman. So if there was ever going to be an opportunity for Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed to get a huge win like this, they've been handed a major trump card, if you will, by getting the wise man, Paul Heyman, in their corner.
Absolutely. It's not just what Paul Heyman can do outside when he's in the ring, but it's also what he does behind the scenes, what he's setting up. You know, he's the ultimate chess player, the ultimate puppet master in so many ways. And also it's so interesting to me when you hear Braun talk about, this is my cameraman, that's my ring. That sounds very familiar. That's a lot like what Roman said. So you wonder how much of the playbook that Paul Heyman is providing to the Bronze.
Well, and you look at someone like Braun Breaker, right, who's trying to establish himself as the future, or the present and the future of WWE. If the bronze, can get the win over the likes of Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, what does it do to the level of respect they would receive afterwards from the locker room?
It's huge. Like, you need, for those two guys, if they want to catapult themselves to main event mainstays to be there, this is that real big test. Do they show tonight that they do indeed deserve to be in main events moving on? Will they meet that test? That's the question tonight.
And also, you know, Seth Rollins' very unfortunate injury is a huge downer for all of us and him. It is an opportunity, though, for one of these or both of these two guys to grab the brass ring. They have a chance that they might not have gotten otherwise with Seth Rollins there to really show everyone what they can do.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to make a huge statement on a huge stage here at SummerSlam. And you know, one thing I love about the WWE Universe is that they're usually making statements with their wardrobe when they show up to events like this. And with that, I would like to check in with backstage correspondent Byron Saxton.
Byron.
What do you got, Byron?
Zach, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's one of the coolest parts of attending a WWE show. You see the signs, you hear the chants, and you see tons of outfits. Like, there's Iron Sheik here behind me, which wasn't on my bingo card this year. So that brings us to where we are right here. This is the Chase Freedom Unlimited WWE Superstar Lookalike Contest, and it's real simple. I have my contestants to my left. You are going to judge said contestants, and thanks to Chase Freedom, the official credit card of SummerSlam, they will be given a really cool prize. So let me, if you guys, are you cool with this?
Yeah, let's do this.
Good, Big E?
Yes, sir.
All right. Here's my game show voice. It's time for the WWE Superstar Lookalike Contest!
All right.
Wow,
I like this,
nailed
Byron.
it.
Dramatic pause for effect.
Byron.
So our first contestant, this look may be very familiar to you. He is old school Bray Wyatt.
I like it.
Bray, do you have some words for your Fireflies?
Sister Abigail never told me it would be like this. But on this day, in this moment of time, right here, I can truly say that I have the whole world in my hands.
Okay.
Strong start. Strong start.
Yeah,
Not bad.
It was a start.
Not bad. You can look, but you can't touch.
Don't do that again. Don't do that.
Never what?
Don't do that.
No.
I need to warm up a little bit.
That's the problem.
It's okay. So we got Nikki Bella, and this is a throwback with John Cena here.
Oh, I like this. I like this.
Couples costume.
So John,
I like this.
John, tell the people why the champ is here.
Cody, I got a message for you, buddy. Welcome to East Rutherford, New Jersey and MetLife Stadium. And I got one more message for you. If you want some, come get some.
Oh, he got the crowd. He got the crowd. You
I
get
feel
points
the
for that.
intensity. Nikki, what do you think about that?
You can look, but you can't touch.
Okay.
Now, who did it better, me or her?
Definitely her.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
still
much
her.
negativity in the air. All right, moving on here. You just heard John. Look at the Macho Man's here. He's not part of the competition, but he's here. Hello, Macho. Thanks for joining us.
Byron just absolutely snubbing that guy.
We get your Slim Jim later.
Put my guy in.
He didn't fill out the form, okay? We got rules to follow here.
That's too bad.
Okay, so John just referenced Cody. Check this out. We have Big Cody, and we have Little GQ Cody.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. Now we're doing something.
We're doing something here, right? Okay, Big Cody, tell us why you are going to win the undisputed WWE Championship tomorrow night at SummerSlam.
First of all, where are my Cody crybabies? Let me hear you guys. I'm gonna win because John Cena's too old for the business. And his last year,
All right.
and I'm very young, in my prime, and I'm gonna beat him tomorrow night in that street fight.
Okay, so speaking of very young Cody, do you have any words for the people?
Cena sucks.
Straightforward. Okay, last but not least, we have, God rest his soul, the Hulkster, and Bianca Belair. Hulk, what do you have to say?
What you gonna do, brother, when the hottest part of summer hits New Jersey? Because Hulkamania is forever.
Nice. I like the mustache. EST, give it to him.
I am the EST, the strongest, the roughest, the fastest, the best. Bianca Belair, and I'm Mac, baby.
There it is. So the pressure's on you guys. Our contestants, once again, where are they? We got Bray Wyatt. We got Nikki Bella and John Cena. We got the Codys, which sounds like a sitcom. And then we got Bianca Belair and the Hulkster brother.
Okay.
Pressure's on. Peter, Jackie, Big E, give me your thoughts.
First of all, I'm going to say kudos to everyone. All the costumes are great.
Not a great effort, yep.
Big E, you're going to go first. Who gets your vote and why?
Big E is for the children, so I'm going with Baby Cody. The man is dressed very sharply. I like the vest. I'm going with Baby Cody.
Okay, Rosenberg?
You, Jackie.
No. I'm the host of the show.
Okay.
You tell him. Lay down the law.
All right, this was a very hard decision because I wasn't terribly impressed by anyone, except for Macho Man, who's not even in the contest.
He didn't fill out the paperwork.
I know.
I'm sorry, Macho, you didn't fill out the paperwork, man. Next time we'll get you.
But I am gonna go. I love the suited and booted mini Cody. I'm going with the kids.
Go, Baby Cody.
All right, Baby Cody has taken home the win. I don't even need to vote, but if I was gonna vote, I would throw a sympathy vote to John Cena for getting the crowd without even trying.
There you go.
So
Baby Cody and Big Cody, congratulations. You guys win upgraded seats.
Oh!
Thanks to Chase Freedom Unlimited, the official credit card of SummerSlam. Congratulations.
Deserve the high five, Baby Cody.
I love it.
I love it. It's not really a baby, but I like using baby. I like to throw it out very, very loosely.
He was like
Kid
7
Cody.
years old.
Kid Cody.
Kid Cody works.
All
That works.
right, congratulations again to, I guess we're calling him Kid Cody on getting the upgraded seats. That was a lot of fun, and he deserved the win. All right, before we get to break, we got to tell you about Triple Mania, AAA's biggest show of the year, emanating live from Mexico City. Will be live, Saturday, August 16th, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific, and will be broadcast live in both English and Spanish on our WWE YouTube channels. Don't miss Triple Mania. It's 2 weeks from tonight, and we are now less than 90 minutes away from kicking off night one of SummerSlam here at MetLife. We'll be right back.
John Cena, it's not just a match for the title at SummerSlam. It's a street fight!
John Cena, Cody Rhodes, for the undisputed WWE Championship.
The biggest party of the summer just got bigger! Stay on and watch this.
WWE SummerSlam, tomorrow.
I'm in the studio. Call you when I leave.
Good people of the world, your favorite bad guys are now here to save the day. What I'm trying to prove is the truth.
Say you're lying!
It's the truth that the entire WWE universe should see, that Sami Zayn, he's a liar. He collects sympathy and he weaponizes that. You guys remember the OG Bloodline? I do.
Sami, you're a liar!
Sami Zayn is a misdirection artist.
Sammy Cross one-on-one. Now you gotta prove yourself if you're carrying Cross.
I told you. Say, Cross, hold the truth.
Paloma kick! Sami Zayn slain, carrying Cross.
Congratulations on defeating Karrion Kross. I was hoping.
Sammy, what did you think was gonna happen? You beat me in Saudi Arabia and I was just gonna go away? Every single week you come out here, Sammy, I'm gonna come out here too. And I'm gonna blast your guts with a steel rod. That's what's gonna happen.
I'm done listening to you talk. You understand me? I talked to Adam Pearce. Our match is official.
I don't know how Sammy does it. Scarlett placing a pipe into the hands of Cross. And Cross with a punt to the ribs. That has got to do it. Cross with the win.
Let's tell the truth, Sammy. I am the devil they know versus you, the devil they don't.
I'm just hoping to be done with this guy once and for all. I'm trying to become a world champion here, and as long as I'm dealing with Karrion Kross, that's not going to happen.
How are your ribs? We know you would have...
Yeah, hi. We're in the middle.
I insist, Corey. Everybody I've been dealing with here in WWE, eventually, I get them to show their true colors. Because believe me, Sammy, you are no different than anybody else. And you are certainly no better than me.
You think you've got me figured out? You think you've got everybody? You think you're some kind of puppet master? I'll tell you what, you beat me at SummerSlam, I'll say whatever it is you want to say.
Say the words that Kross told the truth.
Make no mistake, I am going to beat you at SummerSlam, and when I do, I want you to look me in the eyes. You're going to look at me and you're going to say, you were wrong.
I'm just the devil you know versus the devils you don't.
Welcome back to the countdown to SummerSlam. This year, it is a two-night event here in MetLife Stadium. We are outside getting you set, fans everywhere as we get set for a huge two-night event here in New Jersey. Lots on tap tonight. Fans filing in. We are just under 90 minutes away from kicking things off here inside the stadium. The weather is perfect. There was a lot of rain the last couple of days, but today it is beautiful as we get you set for night one of SummerSlam. And of course, every year during SummerSlam, superstars are doing a ton of media. The WWE Universe is making headlines every single day, and one clip that went everywhere this week featured Chief Content Officer Paul Triple H Levesque visiting the White House as part of the signing of the Presidential Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. And he made his entrance, as he always does, with a water bottle in hand, doing his thing as part of the event. Here is Joe Tessitore.
With that, we're going to give you some unprecedented access here the day of a PLE as we enter the gorilla position. And as you just saw, for a guy who seemingly has always outrageous news weeks, this week was otherworldly. Not only was he speaking at the White House and now on a presidential council, but then the central pillar for the Netflix docu-series that's now widely acclaimed. But from this seat right here, I mean, this is the main job right here. Paul Triple H Levesque, good to be with you, being the architect of now a historic two-night SummerSlam. Listen, we just went through your week. White House, Netflix, all the travels. We had SmackDown last night. How do you juggle it all?
You just do. You put one foot in front of the other and you just move forward and you just do things. So, you know, the wonderful thing is here we are at SummerSlam, as you said, first two-night event. It's going to be spectacular. We're going to have around 50,000 or so here. It's going to be incredible. I'm stoked, I'm excited, and it's going to be a blast.
Hey, Paul, I think it's fitting that we're here in the gorilla position this week, on a week where the Netflix docuseries got so much attention, and this was a central part of it, really the central nervous system of everything that you do. What has been your reaction to the reaction to WWE Unreal?
I think it's been unreal. You know, as you've mentioned, I've been traveling around a little bit this week and seeing a lot of fans, seeing a lot of people that either love WWE or, you know, are just getting to know what WWE is through Unreal. The response has been incredible. I think it's a look back behind the scenes at the incredible people that not only perform in that ring, but do the things behind the scenes that get us to where we are. People that, you know, never really get on camera, but are now, you know, you're seeing what they do. And when you see the level of professionalism, when you see the level of passion, how much everybody here really cares about the WWE fans, about putting on the show that we put on for them, it's hard not to be just completely invested in what WWE does. It's hard not to see that passion and love it and want to see more. So I'm really excited about it. I think it turns WWE onto a whole new world of fans that maybe otherwise wouldn't see what we do.
Yeah, and soon enough, right behind you, the headset's going to be on. Luis, you see these buttons over here? This is how the man talks to all of us right here. And when you do talk to us, no, don't touch them. Yeah, we're getting a lot of trouble right there. When you do hit those buttons, you often remind us to listen to the fans, to listen and react to what's happening, and to always, every decision
is through the prism of serving the fan. 2 nights now for SummerSlam, knowing all the matches and how things shape up. How will the fans be served here over this weekend?
Well, I hope they're going to love it. Everybody here puts their heart, soul, blood, sweat, and tears into what we do. Whether the in-ring performers, like I said, or the people behind the scenes, they all put their everything into it. And it's all for them. It's all for the fans. It's all for the people that came here tonight to see it and the people that are allowing us into their living rooms to watch it. So, it's all for them. Hopefully they're going to love it. That's what we all do. We do our best every single day to try to deliver to our fans and try to give them the best of athleticism, the best of storytelling, the best of sport, the best of entertainment, the best of WWE.
Hey, thanks for your time. Great access. Paul, Triple H Levesque. We'll let you get to work, my man. All right, back to you guys.
Joe Test, thank you so much. What a great interview with Paul Triple H Levesque. They talked about a lot in that interview, but this feels like a historic week for WWE in a lot of ways because of the Netflix documentary. I'm curious what your thoughts are on it and what it's like to kind of see sort of a behind-the-scenes look given to our fans.
Yeah, look, I have a lot of my friends who always want to know what it looks like to be behind the curtains. And I know for a lot of fans, this can be very polarizing because so many of us are like, hey, how much of the magic trick do we want to reveal about our business? But I think there's so much interest in the inner workings of WWE and what goes on backstage. And look, this is a huge moving production, and I think so often people don't realize how much goes into, bless you, how much goes into putting this show on from a week-to-week basis. The writers, the production crew. I love getting to see Abyss backstage. Such a wonderful producer and someone who cares so much about the industry. So I think that's the part that I really take away is you get to see the performers on the screen, you see the wrestlers in the ring, you see the referees, but there's so much that goes on when it comes to putting on a massive show like SummerSlam, and salute to all the people that helped put on this traveling circus.
Well said by you, and it is a huge show. We are an hour and 15 minutes away from kicking off night 1 of SummerSlam. With that, let's check in backstage with Kathy Kelly.
Jackie, thank you so much. I am here with Sami Zayn. And Sami, we have known each other a long time. As long as we have known each other, you've always been in pursuit of a goal. Tonight, your mood seems a little different. Your focus seems fractured. Is that fair to say, or how are you feeling?
No, I don't know if that's the right way to put it. But yeah, no, it is a bit different. I feel a little angry, if I'm being totally honest with you, Kathy. I got here a little bit earlier today, and when I took a walk out there in the stadium, it really hit me, 65,000 seats. And then I'm looking at the posters and I'm seeing Punk and I'm seeing Gunther and I'm seeing Cody and I'm seeing Cena. And it just hit me the magnitude of this event and these championship matches. And instead of fighting for these championships, I'm out here fighting for what? For what? I'm fighting to prove to someone that I am who I say I am. So yeah, I'm a little angry because it made me realize how far I've taken my eye off the ball. So Cross, you want to be angry. Congratulations, buddy. You got it. You got it. I'm angry. But this is me. Understand that. You want to see my true colors? You're looking at it. I am who I say I am, and I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. I am going to put an end to this tonight. One way or the other.
Well, Sami, thank you so much. I'll let you get your focus. But that is a different Sami Zayn. He is fired up and ready to fight for his character and fight for his legacy. Guys?
Kathy, thank you so much. Yeah, a very angry Sami Zayn indeed, and someone who isn't always that way, I would say.
No, he's someone who is usually very composed, knows who he is, but I think that Karrion has brought out a different side of Sami. And look, we know who Sami Zayn is. I have no concerns going into this match. We know how good this man is. I think so much of the spotlight is on Karrion Kross. We've seen this man take the wrestling world by storm in many ways with this incredibly fiery promo that he did backstage with Sam and with Megan, and that is something that's really resonated with people. People have been chanting his name in arenas across the country. People have wanted to see Karrion get more opportunities, and this, to me, this is the stage. Okay, you say you're that guy, you say you're deserving of all these opportunities. Well, Karrion, here it is. This very much is a sink or swim opportunity for him, and I love, we're gonna talk so much about his story, and he's such an interesting human being. But I think this is such a great opportunity here tonight for Karrion to show the world who he is in the ring, can you go step for step with a living legend in Sami Zayn, a guy who is definitely going to be a Hall of Famer, who has done so many incredible things, but Sami's spotlight is on. He's still thinking, I want to be a world champion. That's where my head is at. So I need to get through this test. But for Karrion, this is the ultimate, here you go. Can you swim?
This is a make or break moment, so to speak, for one Karrion Kross. And, you know, regardless of how you feel about Karrion and his opinions about other WWE superstars, the one thing that you can't deny with Karrion is that he is as real as it gets. The reason that this is happening is because he decided to be as authentic as possible, sort of take the bull by the horns and sort of will his way to this point. And his whole life has sort of elements of that. And, you know, it's interesting. He's got a book coming out. We are going to show you that book right here. It's called Life is Fighting. It's written by Karrion Kross. Let me get a good shot here for you. It's available August 5th online at bookstores, excuse me. You can pre-order now. It's a great cover, by the way. And, you know, he talks about everything in here. He talks about highs, he talks about lows, his time in NXT, being released, being rehired. All of it is in this book. So I'm excited to read it, E, and you know how hard this journey can be. This is someone that has fought the entire time.
Absolutely. And look, we have a mutual friend in Emilio Sparks, someone who has known him very well. And I think so much about this man's journey. I think about when he first came on the main roster, and he's saddled with this, I don't know if it's a gimp, I don't know what the look was, but it's something. Look, when you have a very bad debut or a debut that people don't take well, it is very hard to overcome that. And I think he's had a lot of setbacks along the way in his career, but I also see the way that he's resonated with fans. I see his connection with fans, and I think that promo that he cut several weeks ago with Megan and with Sam, it was so real, so visceral. You understood his pain, you understood his setbacks, and he's someone who has wanted more for so long. And I'm really intrigued to see if he can really take the bull by the horns here tonight. It's such a great opportunity. Sami Zayn is one of the very best in the ring. We know who he is, but Karrion has just fascinated so many people. He has intrigued so many people, and this really is an opportunity for him to really skyrocket his career. Can he take that next big leap and really become the kind of performer, a main event performer, get world title matches? Is tonight he makes that big leap? We'll see tonight, because he really truly has a great opportunity. And I can't wait to read this book, because I think his life is really fascinating, whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether it's, you know, fighting in the streets. He's really lived quite the life, and I love that we're getting to see more of his life. He's being more and more open with what he's gone through in his life.
And I think, too, like, part of what makes him so relatable is, like, you don't have to be a WWE superstar to understand wanting more out of your life, or wanting more out of your current situation, and maybe not always getting it, or having to fight harder than maybe other people do for whatever reason. So I'm excited to see it. He talks about everything in here, including Scarlett as well, who we all love. And again, you can get this August 5th. That is this Tuesday, but you can pre-order it now online. So it is called Life is Fighting by Karrion Kross. And he is in action tonight against Sami Zayn. We'll see. I mean, I have no idea what to expect in this match, to be honest with you. I think it could go either way. So a huge match tonight between Karrion Kross and Sami Zayn. All right. Every single time that we do PLEs, especially these big ones, E, you know, we get out in the community. We try to kind of mix it up with people and give back in the best way that we can. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you.
No, I definitely think this is one of the very best things that we do. And I've had the opportunity over the last several years to work with Nick Fuster on the community side with WWE, and we recognize what we call community champions. And these are people who have done incredible things in the community. So we have 4 different groups that we want to recognize here tonight on stage. So let's see some of our community champions right here.
As SummerSlam descends on the Meadowlands, WWE is proud to honor local organizations making a powerful impact in their communities. Like the individuals who create lasting solutions to hunger, homelessness, and poverty, providing essential support delivered with compassion and care. Those creating a safe space for young people, fostering a community focused on empowering the next generation through leadership, academics, and collaboration. The organization supporting efforts dedicated to discovering cures for pediatric cancer through innovative research, while providing vital care and comfort to young patients and their families. and the advocates of EMS professionals, funding education for future emergency medical responders. Join WWE in honoring Nourish NJ Food Bank, Meadowlands EMS Scholarship Fund, New City Kids, and Tackle Kids Cancer as SummerSlam's community champions.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our community champions.
Woo!
First, we want to recognize Meadowlands EMS Scholarship Fund. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We also want to recognize New City Kids,
Ew.
Hackensack Meridian Health and Tackle Kids Cancer, and Nourish NJ. I'm telling you, this is truly some of the best stuff that we do, is recognizing the incredible people here. Also, I want to thank Nick Fuster, who's standing over there. That man is incredible. He has done so much in the community. But you all, I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for the work that you do here in the state of New Jersey, whether it's giving back to kids, whether it's helping to fight cancer, whether it's helping to feed the community. You all do so much incredible work. And the best thing we do here is recognizing the work you do. So thank you so much for giving back to the community. Thank you so much for fighting cancer. Thank you for all you do for everyone here in the state of New Jersey. Thank you so much.
Well said, Biggie. Well said. Again, congratulations to all of you guys. And thank you, seriously, for everything that you do in your communities. It is so appreciated by us here at WWE, and great job by you, Big E. All right, we are getting closer and closer to showtime here at MetLife Stadium, night one of SummerSlam. We are currently outside. Our guy, Peter Rosenberg, is inside, and I understand we're going to go to him now. Peter, take it away.
Well, Jackie, you know I love doing this very much, and this is such a treat, all right? The Gorilla Walk at SummerSlam, all right? This is a historic building when it comes to WWE. There's so much cool stuff that has happened in this building. But let's take you on the walk that superstars will go on tonight and tomorrow as they make their way to the ring here at SummerSlam, MetLife Stadium. You walk through, and if you've been watching WWE Unreal on Netflix, you may have seen the important space note is, of course, gorilla position. I see the GOAT, Michael Cole, going over some notes, giving me a dirty look as he prepares for the show. Super producer Brian Fathom, congratulations on your wedding. Tommy Cullen is here. All of our producers hanging out, even Jack Rosenthal in the cut. And we go out here. This is where superstars will stand right before their music hits. And then, boom, the moment happens. We are at SummerSlam. Now, let's talk about MetLife Stadium for a moment, because when you talk about this building, it's not just about what we're going to get tonight and tomorrow, the first ever two-night SummerSlam. It's about the history that already exists here, okay? Now, Roman Reigns, he, of course, has a huge tag match tonight with Jey Uso, but he has a history in this building. He's beaten Drew McIntyre in this building at WrestleMania. He won a match as part of the Shield in this building. Now, John Cena, of course, tomorrow in a gigantic matchup, a street fight against Cody Rhodes. John Cena beat The Rock in this building at WrestleMania. It goes on, and of course, how can you forget the moments, the pageantry? Kofi Mania happened right here at MetLife Stadium. It is going to be packed. It's an incredible space, and as I've talked about throughout the day, and I'm going to continue to talk about it, there are amazing markets when it comes to pro wrestling all over the world. We'll see it at the end of the month, of course, in Paris. You see it whenever we go to Chicago or Los Angeles. So many great places, but for my money, there are no better pro wrestling fans in the world than the tri-state, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, and it is all happening today at MetLife Stadium SummerSlam. This is the walk. Cannot wait for all of the action tonight and tomorrow at MetLife Stadium. You're going to have a ball, I promise you. Now, one thing I'm very excited about, A24 is presenting The Smashing Machine, starring Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt, in theaters everywhere October 3rd. Watch the trailer online now.
Ready?
I think so.
You think so? Come on, Mark, it's a yes or no answer.
Mark Kerr, a man on a mission
I've never seen him like this before.
to be the greatest fighter in the world. But with everything he's been through, can he still fight? I know what I'm doing, all right? Or will all his hopes and dreams come crashing down?
Come on, are you ready?
Yes.
trying to...
Hook of the leg! Shoulders down, what the hell? What are you doing, Finn? Come on! Finn, what are you doing? I don't think Priest realized what just happened. Finn Balor on the Southland choke slam just screwed his buddy.
I don't think Priest has any idea.
Finn Balor just screwed his buddy in the Judgment Day. Did jealousy just wreak its ugly head? And now Priest realizes what happened.
He sees the replay like all of us.
Balor just stabbed Priest in the back. You felt this was brewing for months and months and months, but you never thought it was gonna happen.
Especially like this.
And now Gunther from behind, taking advantage, locking in a sleeper now. On Damian Priest, middle of the ring, off the Balor distraction. The champion's fading. Gunther's got it locked in. The champ's fading. Balor with a look of disgust, staring back at a fading Damian Priest. Priest's in trouble.
Gunther continuing to clutch, trying to put the champion down.
Balor looking on as Priest tries to fight back. Priest trying to fight back out of this. And Gunther though, Priest,
shoulders down.
Shoulders are down. Gunther had to kick it too. Priest has got life. And again going after Balor. Come on, Priest. Focus on Gunther. And Gunther with a power bomb. And again clutches in. Sleeper in. Priest is fading. Eyes rolling back in his head. All because of the outrage over being stabbed in the back by his friend.
Don't lose hope yet. I don't know. Priest somehow...
It's over. Gunther is the world champion.
Here is your winner, and new World Heavyweight Champion, Dominic General Gunther!
Gunther wins his first World Heavyweight Championship.
Arguably the best pro wrestler on God's green earth in the year 2024. Gunther finally has the hardware to prove it again.
But SummerSlam 2024 will be forever known as the implosion of the Judgment Day as we know it.
The heat is on. As the biggest event of the summer takes center stage at MetLife Stadium in the Garden State of New Jersey. The 38th annual SummerSlam is sure to bring the house down as it expands to a historic two-night spectacular. It was back in 1988, where SummerSlam debuted only 12 miles away from MetLife at Madison Square Garden. Since then, the biggest party of the summer has been hosted by 22 cities, will be streamed in nearly 200 countries, and attracted a live audience of nearly 800,000 screaming fans.
Don't let us one word.
An all-star lineup of 351 superstars, including 84 WWE Hall of Famers, have performed at SummerSlam, and we have certainly seen it all. Including 4 steel cage matches, 2 battle royals, the Elimination Chamber,
A custody battle.
a Hell in a Cell, a wedding, tribal combat, and even a jailhouse match. This year, SummerSlam returns to New Jersey for the 4th time, and the first since 2007. That night was headlined by future Hall of Famers John Cena and Randy Orton, battling over the WWE Championship for the very first time. And no one has owned this event quite like Randy Orton, which includes a record 3 World Championship wins at SummerSlam. His first took place 21 years ago, when Orton became the youngest world champion in history at just 24 years of age. This year, the Apex Predator will take the SummerSlam stage for a record-breaking 17th time when he teams up with lifelong WWE fan, country music superstar Jelly Roll, whose last album amassed nearly 60 million streams in its first week. This year marks the 25th anniversary of the very first TLC match, a groundbreaking attraction that debuted at SummerSlam 2000.
This looks like a tornado ran through our mobile home park.
And this year, we double the carnage. As 6 teams, a total of 12 competitors, the most ever in a TLC match, attempt to win the WWE Tag Team Championship by any means necessary. No one knows big match pressure like John Cena. The record-breaking 17-time champ will compete in his record 11th world title match in what will be his final SummerSlam. The greatest of all time will take on the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, who's attempting to get back the undisputed WWE Championship that he lost 104 days ago at WrestleMania 41. This time, in a street fight! Countless women have rocked the stage at the biggest party of the summer. This year, the Queen Charlotte Flair has her eyes on Tag Team Gold with new teammate Alexa Bliss. The two friends,
allies of convenience,
have a combined 23 championship wins in their legendary careers. 8 years removed from her last world championship reign at SummerSlam, Naomi will defend her newly won Women's World Championship against the 2 women she cashed in on, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, in a triple threat match. And can the Queen of the Ring, Jade Cargill, be the 9th person to win their first world title at SummerSlam and defeat the dominant Tiffany Stratton? 2025 has been running on Tiffy time, as the WWE Women's Champion is a flawless 13-0 and enters her 7th title defense. The Intercontinental Championship is synonymous with SummerSlam, with the title changing hands an impressive 16 times. However, world champions have had a distinct advantage at SummerSlam. We've witnessed an astounding 80 world title matches, and in 49 of those contests, the champion walked away victorious. That's a shocking 61% rate of success. Will that prove to be a good omen for the ring general? Or will CM Punk reach the top of the mountain yet again? 4,573 days since his last world championship reign. Nearly 4 decades of history come together with 9 championship matches in a historic 2-night extravaganza. It's time to ramp up the excitement, crank the volume, and get ready for unforgettable action as we turn up the heat for the 38th annual SummerSlam.
SummerSlam is presented by Cricket. Fast and powerful.
Hey.
When I tell you these, please believe me. They gon'
CM Punk got some gold around his waist. CM Punk came to fight and punch his ticket to SummerSlam. Go to sleep! Punk's going that man, Gunther, for the World Championship. It is time CM Punk became champion one more time. The best in the world
is the man that holds the World Heavyweight Championship. Well, let's cut to the chase then, Punk, huh? You consider yourself the best in the world. I consider myself the best in the world. You got a massive ego. I got a massive ego. It's not based on what they think. That's worthless. My ego is justified. Ever since I stepped foot in this company, I am the greatest gift this company has ever received. For 80% of my time in this company, I have been a champion. And right now, I am the greatest World Heavyweight Champion of all time.
There's levels to this, kid. And you're gonna find out a hard lesson at the SummerSlam. It dawned on me that I don't want to be World Heavyweight Champion. I need to be World Heavyweight Champion. I need to be World Heavyweight Champion as a thank you to the millions of people who have chanted my name.
At the end of the day, the bell has to ring. And when that happens,
I can promise you
I'm gonna maul you.
that I will leave it all in the ring.
I'm gonna push you around.
I will not quit.
I'm gonna choke you out. I'm gonna drop you like a wet towel.
I will give you everything I have. And one man will get his hand raised. Still the World Heavyweight Champion. The one, the only.
You will never be the best in the world.
But I was thinking about this match earlier and discussing it with Jackie Redmond, and we were talking about how CM Punk somehow, for being one of the biggest stars of all time, has somehow been a little bit underhyped in the last several weeks leading up to this huge SummerSlam. When you think about the opportunity for CM Punk, for 10 years, people in stadiums across the world were chanting his name. And for those of us big wrestling fans who tweet, who post, who do podcasts, we all wondered, would the guy ever come back? And it really seemed like, frankly, I was one of the people who thought, no chance, he is never walking through those doors again. Not only has he come back, not only has he made it back from injury, but here he is. He wins a four-way match to get a gauntlet match to get this opportunity at a world championship. And guys, at any age, championship opportunities do not come every day. But when you're CM Punk and there are more years behind you than there are in front of you, you have to take these opportunities so seriously. They are so precious. Now, let's not forget, he has his own big moment in this building, WrestleMania 29, where he taunted, tormented, and eventually lost to The Undertaker. Obviously, CM Punk looking for a different outcome tonight. Could it be his last shot at championship gold? We will find out as he takes on Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Very excited for that match, our main event tonight. Now, let's send it over to my colleague, Byron Saxton.
As we inch closer and closer to the start of SummerSlam, we are inching closer and closer to that highly anticipated World Heavyweight title match between Gunther and CM Punk. Now, we know where Gunther stands. He's made it abundantly clear. He believes he is the new best in the world. He believes he has surpassed everything CM Punk has been. As for Punk, we heard it Monday. He said he needs this. He needs to become World Heavyweight Champion. But there's an underlying factor Punk didn't talk about. And that factor is redemption. Redemption from Elimination Chamber when Punk came that close to securing a world title opportunity at WrestleMania. Redemption from the Royal Rumble, where again, Punk, part of the final four superstars in that match, came that close to securing that opportunity at WrestleMania. And then for my old school fans out there talking about WrestleMania, think back to 2013, WrestleMania 29. That was the last time CM Punk competed inside MetLife Stadium, and again, came that close to defeating The Undertaker. So when it comes down to it tonight, we're gonna find out who wants it more. Does Punk want that redemption story more and the World Heavyweight title? Or does Gunther, the ring general, want to close and conclude that redemption story for good? We're gonna find out, like the rest of us, here tonight at SummerSlam. Jackie, Big E, back to you guys on the panel.
Byron, thank you so much. Big E and myself have moved inside of MetLife Stadium as fans continue to file in for what will be a colossal two-night SummerSlam event. We just heard Byron and Peter talking about this match between CM Punk and Gunther, which will be the main event tonight. And it's hard to kind of come up with a confident prediction in this one because Gunther has been so dominant, but we also know what winning a championship once again in WWE means to CM Punk, who hasn't held a title in a very long time.
It has been a while. We're going to very smoothly share our mic here for a second, so bear with us. Look, it has been quite some time since Punk has held a title, and you wonder when you see CM Punk, that clock is ticking. Is this going to be his last world title opportunity? And you know, the cool thing I saw a clip from Unreal where you could see how much it meant to Punk to be back in this spot, to be given opportunities to main event. These are things that he's wanted so much in his career, and you wonder if this is the very last time he gets this shot. So will he make good on that? Is he going to beat Gunther? And Gunther is not just some regular old champion. We talk so often, and you did such an eloquent job talking about his dominance and the amount of time he has spent holding world championships, holding titles in this company, and taking that from Gunther is not going to be an easy feat by any means.
Yeah, I mean, to have only 4 losses in singles competition since joining the main roster of WWE, I mean, you did this for a living. That is an insane stat, and it's why I repeat it over and over and over again every single time we do a premium live event, because he has been so dominant. And you know, he has this tendency, we've seen it, we talked about this with Rosenberg earlier in the show, he kind of robs the fans those fairy tale endings. We would all love to see CM Punk hold a championship in WWE again, because a lot of us thought we would never see the day. We're like, pigs will be flying before we see CM Punk back in WWE holding a title, but he has that opportunity tonight. I just don't know how you do it. And from Gunther's side of things, you know, he's somebody that I think in a lot of ways is somewhat underhyped in the WWE universe for what he's been able to accomplish and this reign of dominance that I don't think we've seen very many times in the history of this company. If he defeats CM Punk tonight and once again adds another victory into the win column and extends that impressive record, I mean, what does it do for the legacy of someone like Gunther, who has beat some pretty stiff competition in WWE?
It's everything. Being a world champion is great, but it's the names you've beaten along the way and the names you've beaten when you've held that title. So when Gunther's here for legacy. Gunther is here to be at the very top of his craft. And when it's all said and done, I think Gunther wants to have names like Jey Uso, CM Punk, so many of the legends from yesteryear, from right now, some of the guys who are up and coming. I think he wants to beat them all to prove that he is one of the greatest champions of all time. And look, Gunther doesn't care about your yeets. He doesn't care about your catchphrases. He doesn't care about your merch movers. He hates them. He's not here for all the, you know, look, I was someone who, I was happy to put my name on a cereal box, to be a merch mover, all those things.
Shout out Booty-O's.
Shout out to Booty-O's, all those things. But Gunther is someone who very much keeps the main thing the main thing. And for him, that's his craft. That's what he does in the ring. That's being the very best. Everything else goes to the side. So I don't think he's concerned with Punk and how the fans are going to take to him, because believe you me, the fans are going to go crazy here tonight for CM Punk. But Gunther is not concerned with any of that. He is here to build a legacy that stands the test of time in our industry, and that is his focus here tonight.
All he does is win, 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 no
That's
matter
it.
what, right? That could be his theme song for his time on the main roster in WWE. And by the way, this will be tonight's main event. CM Punk taking on the ring general Gunther with a chance to win his first WWE championship in over a decade, but it will not be easy against the likes of Gunther. Now, we have to turn our attention to Chasm, where it feels like you really are at a premium live event when you are there. We've got some footage here of Chasm, where I feel like WWE superfans just absolutely get their fill as we take a look at it. That is Kazem. For now, let's take you to part 2 of my sit-down interview. Oh. All right, we are going to take a quick break. My bad. Coming up on the other side of the countdown to SummerSlam, we'll take you to part 2 of my exclusive sit-down interview with Jelly Roll, where he talks all things Logan Paul. That's next.
Has never defeated Io Sky in her career. Io Sky defends the women's world title against Rhea Bloody Ripley. Io inadvertently hit their official. The Genius of the Sky with Ripley in trouble.
Two women putting in performances of extreme distinction.
This is your last warning. Oh my God! Naomi's here. It's officially cashed in. It's a triple threat match. There are no disqualifications. Split-legged moonsault.
Your new women's world champion.
The new women's world champion.
I wasn't feeling the glow, but you feeling me now, ain't you? Don't nobody know my next move until I make it. That's why I'm standing here now as the new women's world champion. But all you raggedy heifers back there in the Raw locker room, I strongly advise you to proceed with caution. This is what you
One thing you should know about me, I'm not cautious. I'm reckless and I am pissed. I walked into Evolution with 2 goals. To finally beat Io Sky and to get back the Women's World Championship. Now, all because of you, I still have those 2 goals. So congratulations, Naomi, because you just made it onto my list.
Rhea, with respect, get in there. Naomi, I will get back my title from you.
Ladies, it will be Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Naomi for that Women's World Championship at SummerSlam.
Get y'all entitled asses out my face into the back of the line. I made history, baby. Who got the upper hand now, bitches?
Mommy is the most dominant woman within this company.
Rhea Ripley is a genuine badass. How can you not be impressed?
I'm gonna stop at nothing to get the Women's World Championship back.
Nobody in this division can stop me. It's my era. I will take my rightful spot at the top of this division.
I strongly advise you to proceed with caution.
Welcome back to the countdown to SummerSlam. We are officially 40 minutes away from kicking off night 1 here in MetLife Stadium, and I can confirm that kicking off night 1 will be Roman Reigns and Jey Uso as they team up to take on Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. With that, let's check in with Peter Rosenberg, who's ringside.
Oh, absolutely, Jackie. And this is the only way that I have the ability to sit in seats this incredible. This is probably, if I'm being honest, at least tied for the best seat in the house at MetLife Stadium to take in SummerSlam. And I have to know what this experience is going to be like, so I just plop down and I'm going to talk to the people and find out how you got here, what you're expecting. Well, what's your name?
Christina.
Christina, on a scale of 1 to 10, what level of excitement are we at to be literally row 1, center of the ring at SummerSlam?
Always a 10. Always.
And what are you most excited to see?
Tonight, CM Punk.
Ah, CM Punk girl, I see. Okay. And Miss, what's your name?
Marilyn.
Marilyn, how, scale of 1 to 10, level of excitement right now? Because you seem like you have a calm that's come over you. But very shortly, things are going to be very chaotic in this ring. How excited are you?
It's 11.
You're an 11. It's a very calm 11, I must say, but 11 nonetheless. And who are you here for?
The original tribal chief.
Oh, you're here to acknowledge the original OTC. I respect that. I saw a thumbs down there. That's not right. Now, sir, let me ask you for a second. What's your name?
Matt.
Matt, now you also seem very calm. Guys, I'm learning something about life. The key to getting seats this good, you have to apparently be very chill about it, because I would be losing my friggin' mind. How excited are you for tonight?
11 out of 10.
And have you been to, I'm going to jump on a limb, this is not your first wrestling event.
That's not my first rodeo, no.
No, you've been. What's before this event, the biggest, best event you've ever been to?
WrestleMania 40.
Wow. You loved 40, huh?
I did.
And what are you most excited for tonight? Like when this person walks out tonight, you're going to get the goosebumps. You're going to freak out. You're going to be leaning over the seat, trying to get a little glimmer of sweat.
Let's say Gunther. I'm excited for him to maul CM Punk, as he says.
Wow, you're a big Gunther guy, huh?
Gunther fan, yeah.
And you're a Gunther guy. I'm a Gunther guy. You say Gunther.
Gunther.
All right, tomato, Gunther. All right, how good are these seats? These seats are so good that you can be literally 10 feet away from my friend Kathy Kelly. Kathy, what do you got?
Well, Peter, I know that you said that you have the best seat in the house. I feel like this might be even better. And as we've seen over the years in WWE, it attracts a lot of celebrities. They are sitting front row, some of them such big fans that they want to get inside the ring. That is what we are going to experience tonight with Jelly Roll. But let's take a look at some of the A-listers that step foot in the ring. Just 5 miles from New Jersey's MetLife Stadium, host of this year's historic 2-day SummerSlam event, lies a city synonymous with fortune and fame. The roots of WWE run deep in the Big Apple, and the Empire City's A-list celebrity status has unquestionably made a seismic impact on the WWE universe. From the early stages of WWE's pop culture conquest, stars from outside the squared circle have been a constant presence on professional wrestling's biggest stages. As WWE's influence and stature grew, the rich and famous wanted to be a part of the action, literally. From the icons of pro sports, the physicality of pro wrestling can be a natural transition. Trading the shoulder pads for shoulder blocks, these elite athletes have gone toe-to-toe with some of WWE's biggest and baddest superstars, creating some unforgettable moments and, on a few occasions, altering the landscape of sports entertainment forever. The celebrity impact on WWE doesn't just stop there. Some of cinema's biggest silver screen titans had ditched the film set for the thunderous crowds, getting up close and personal with the pro wrestling world.
You're damn right.
The stars of smash hit shows have competed in Smash Mouth bouts as well. Whether it's comedy, reality TV, or late night, these performers have brought some new wrinkles into the in-ring competition. Speaking of new, how about the moguls of new media? Some of social media's biggest influencers have gotten an in-depth look at the life of a superstar, often with viral consequences. Sure, we all know about the power of music in WWE, but chart-topping performers have gone beyond the mic to make their presence felt. Talk about a multi-platinum hit. For many superstars, rubbing elbows with the biggest VIPs in entertainment has created pure on-screen magic. For others, not so much. Sorry, Miz. WWE's most recent celebrity competitors have brought a whole new level of commitment to their in-ring aspirations, training around the clock and sacrificing it all for their primetime moment. The latest celebrity addition to WWE's star-studded roster, Grammy-nominated artist and songwriter Jelly Roll. After his recent hometown performance on SmackDown was cut short, Jelly Roll landed squarely in the crosshairs of the diabolical duo Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul.
No! A Claymore! Who the f*** shut the hell up, Jelly Roll?
Finding an ally in the Viper Randy Orton, the musical megastar is fighting back.
I'm here. Why don't you leave, huh?
While Jelly Roll may be new to the often treacherous world of WWE, he's bringing the heat to the biggest party of the summer. Tonight, the Tennessee Troubadour joins a rich list of celebrity in-ring participants, throwing caution to the wind in an explosive tag team clash at SummerSlam.
You know, I know how much this moment and tonight means for Jelly Roll, how hard he has been training. Both Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul seem to just cast that aside, and I think they're overlooking him. He may not have a wrestling past, but Jelly Roll has a past, and I think that it would be incredibly foolish of anyone to underestimate and look past his typically jovial demeanor. Jackie, I know you have a part 2 of that sit-down interview with him, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, the first half of that conversation was about a lot of the things Kathy just touched on, which is the work ethic of Jelly Roll. I think he's impressed everyone at the Performance Center in Orlando with that work ethic. He basically moved to Orlando so that he could train multiple times per day, eat what he needs to eat, learn the moves, unlearn some bad habits, and get in the best shape of his life, as he told Stephanie McMahon on her podcast. But of course, we also, we had to talk about the match. We had to talk about a guy that Jelly Roll really does not like, and that is Logan Paul. So with that, here is part 2 of my sit down with Jelly Roll.
Every single day when I wake up and I pull in the PC, I'm scared. In a real way, I'm second guessing myself. Am I gonna be able to get this? I've been working at this really hard and I still hadn't figured out this thing or that thing. Why can't I get the timing on this? Or what's wrong with this? But I know that that's the good stuff now. I didn't know that at first.
I'm really impressed with how far he's gotten in such a short amount of time, but his attitude is probably the most impressive thing that I've seen so far.
He's come here and all in, like not dipping his toe in to see how it feels. He's come all in. You can tell he's that guy that, you know, if he loves something, look out, because he's going to outwork everyone around you.
I think people are going to be really, really shocked and surprised at his ability to perform in our world.
I have a moment once a week where I look at Coach or call my wife and go, am I tripping? This is the wildest thing I've ever signed up for. What was I thinking? I was like, this is not a great decision. This is the wildest thing I've ever done. I don't think I can do anything wilder. This is it. Why do people think I lost my mind?
Well, listen, it's real. It's happening. The moment is coming.
No, the WWE is the theater of the unknown. And I'm gonna trust my instincts when that music plays, and I'm going to trust the Viper Randy Orton. I signed up for this for one reason. I got the right guy in my corner. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who the other 2 guys are. I got the right guy.
Yes, you do. Randy Orton, the legend killer, a future Hall of Famer. I mean, his resume speaks for itself. And now he's sort of guiding you and mentoring you through this process. What does he mean to you now as somebody that's helping getting you ready?
Randy is, I couldn't ask for a better partner. Literally, like, he is who we all think he is. This is all awkward for me, and he knows that.
You step into my ring, you become a target.
What's his advice been to you?
Be yourself, relax. He's just the nicest guy ever. True mentor, though. Funny. Randy is excited about this match. Our Kimmel stuff, like, we're getting to have fun.
It's cool because there's like a parallel, right? Like you talk about finding something at 40 that you're super excited about that's like lit something in you. And it feels like it's done that for Randy Orton, albeit in a different way, but has ignited something new and fresh for him as well. But you do have Logan Paul on the other side. You know we have to talk about this guy. Like, you know this question's coming. What do you make of Logan Paul? What do you think of him just as a dude?
Yeah, man. Logan Paul.
We're using that. We are using that. You think he's jealous? Why do you think he hates you?
I don't think it's jealous. I just think, imagine being like a tall, handsome guy that was athletic your whole life, and then just some fat guy comes in and everybody's like, we love this guy.
I think he talks about attention all the time, right? How he has it, he has it, he has it. I think he saw someone else getting attention and maybe
Yeah.
didn't like it very
A little
much.
attention whore in him, couldn't stand somebody else getting a little spotlight. Just
Your words.
had to be a hater about it again. He slapped me on national TV, Jackie. That's a real thing I have to live with the rest of my life, is there's a clip of this clown open hand slapping me in front of the world.
When you put him through the desk,
Yeah.
how'd that feel?
It felt really good to put him through the desk, but I don't feel satisfied. I'm serious. I think I owe him a little bit of one.
Okay.
And if I was people
Do you want to embarrass him?
I don't want to embarrass nobody. I don't have a heart for that. But I do want to show him that he has misunderstood people like me my whole life. And it ain't about me. It's about millions of people that he's probably overlooked in his life when you have, you know, the kind of privilege he's had.
We've talked about everything.
Speaking of everything,
Everybody.
RKO everybody, baby.
We've seen the passion. We've talked about the grind. We know who you are. When you step into the ring, what can we expect from Jelly Roll in this match?
You can expect an old school jail yard fight. That's what I'm telling you, man. I'm gonna bring the only skill set I have to the table. You know what I'm saying? For sure. The last physical combat I had was either at a bar or in a jail. You know what I mean? So I'm going back to my roots. But I had to wake that dog up in me again. That dog hadn't came out in a while.
Listen, experience is experience is experience. You are the absolute best. It's been so great to talk to you. I don't know if I've ever laughed this much through an interview, which, by the way, I'm not supposed to do because it interrupts what he's saying. But thank you for the time. Good luck. I hope you crush them.
No, thank you. Honored. Thank you for having me again, Jay.
You're the best.
I can hear you in my head, in my bed when I'm dreaming.
Huge thank you to Jelly Roll for that sit-down interview. Thoroughly enjoyed it. He has been doing media all over the place, so gracious with his time as he gets set for this match at SummerSlam. He also sat down with the legendary Stephanie McMahon, who joins us on the
I don't know
panel
about
now.
legendary.
I
definitely do. I do.
See,
I can vouch.
we can say it with confidence, I think. How pumped are you for a two-night SummerSlam?
Oh my
First
God,
off.
it's the first time SummerSlam is 2 nights. I can't believe it. Everybody here is so excited. I hope you can see the people behind us. This place is going to be electric.
Oh, it certainly is, and we are getting closer and closer to showtime. I want to chat with you about your conversation with Jelly Roll in just a sec, but let's give the people at home a little teaser about that conversation. Here's a clip from her sit-down with Jelly Roll.
I'm learning that, like, a lot of my therapy was around inner child. You know, like a lot of my food addiction, we talked about this off camera, was about the young man. Because I got fat really young, like really, really young. Was over 300 pounds coming out of middle school. I'm going to be under 300 pounds for the first time since middle school the night I walked to that ring at SummerSlam.
That's amazing.
That's an exclusive here. I haven't said that nowhere. My goal
Wow.
is for the first time since middle school, I will be under 300 pounds for the first time since we're talking about literally now 30
Like 5th,
years.
6th grade?
Literally.
Wow. Wow. Congratulations.
Literally, and I should be
That's amazing.
under 300 pounds. I weigh in once a month. I weighed in right before I got here. We have the scale documented that month. I'm pretty sure I'm doing the work. It ain't no way it ain't, you know what I mean?
And you want to be on the cover of Men's Health March 26th.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal. You want me
Yeah.
to set another big one right now?
Please.
I haven't set another one in a while. This will make my publicist hate me.
Sorry. Ooh, I like that.
I want to do a shirt off cover in 27.
Wow. That's awesome.
And that, I mean, I'm a long way from that, obviously. Like I'm gonna have to get my skin cut. I mean, I've got to do a lot of.
Do you have to do that?
I'm gonna have to because it's interfering with me and my daily functions.
And there's.
It's not even an aesthetic thing. Now that I can take my shirt off and not have saggy, that's gonna be a big bonus. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But like, it's just.
Tell me about it.
TMI. Why would,
I was trying not to make. I hate it when they sag. It's the worst.
Again, that is the What's Your Story podcast hosted by
Yes.
Stephanie McMahon. Be sure to check it out. You know,
I wasn't sure that last comment was going to be in the clip. Thanks
it's
for
in
including
there.
it, everyone.
I'm so glad that it was in there. It's amazing. Listen.
Oh, wait, and I'm so proud to announce for him, I
Okay.
got the official weigh-in results. Jelly Roll, as of today, was 299 pounds.
did it.
He made his goal of being under 300 pounds for the first time since he was in 5th or 6th grade.
Oh my gosh, congratulations to Jelly Roll. What a huge accomplishment in and of itself to be able to do that. He'll accomplish another dream tonight when he steps into that WWE ring for an official match. You sat with him for a couple of hours. What did you walk away from that conversation most impressed about when it comes to Jelly Roll?
I think Jelly Roll, well, first of all, his capacity to give and how much he just truly wants to give back to people and be there for people, because he didn't have people who were there for him in his life. And he doesn't, expound upon that. He's not sad about that, but he just wants to make sure if he can provide it, that he's there. And I think people feel that in his concerts and in his shows. He says he sees signs, 67 days sober, or, whatever big accomplishments there are. There was a little girl who had lost her mom who was holding up a sign, and he called her out, and he was there for her in that moment. He said his shows are more like a healing. And I think what I just took away most was not only is he one of the coolest people I've ever met who can pretty much accomplish anything if he puts his mind to it, but he's a good person.
Absolutely. One thing I really love about your podcast is you dig beyond just the veneer of celebrity and who the person is publicly, but really getting at like who they are as a human being. And I was very fortunate to be able to sit down with you earlier today and have a conversation. I can't wait till that's out. But is that something that you're very intentional about, really trying to dig deeper?
That's actually the whole point of What's Your Story. And it started off, from Stephanie's Places, from the show on ESPN Plus, because I really got to know our superstars and who they are, and it just kept evolving. And everybody has a story. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, you've been through something in life. And if you've made it this far, you've been successful for a reason. So what are some of the tools and the tips, that you've used to help get you to this place? And if that can entertain and help our audience, then, that's the goal.
One thing we've talked about a lot with Jelly Roll is the work ethic. You were at the Performance Center when you did that interview. You've seen it up close and personal, and you've seen a lot of people come and go from WWE. What do you make of his dedication to trying to make this as good a match as it can be?
I mean, I think that's just who Jelly Roll is, right? Like, he is so passionate, and whatever it is he wants to do, he's going to put 1,000% effort behind it, as he has been doing at the Performance Center. I've been so impressed with him. And, we saw that choke slam. We've seen it now through a table. We've seen it in the ring. I think that might be his finishing move. I wonder if we're going to see it tonight.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm sure he's going to have a few more surprises for us as well. But, of course, he has Randy Orton as his partner. But he is going against Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, speaking of getting back in the ring, is that something that might still be on the radar for you?
I feel like you always ask me this.
People want to know.
If someone tempts you,
Nobody
pushes
wants
the wrong
to know.
button.
Trust me, I can't hang with these women. I mean, you're going to see Tiffany Stratton, you're going to see Jade Cargill, you're going to see all of these incredible matches, and I can't compete at their level. I appreciate the question. I could be the mouthpiece. I'll come talk a good game.
Listen,
but
I'll sign up for that. You gotta manage somebody.
Want me in the ring. It would be an embarrassment for everybody.
No, I promise
really.
you, I do want you in the ring. I can tell you that. Well, listen, we've talked a lot about celebrities and the relationship that WWE has in terms of crossing over with pop culture and bringing in musicians and actors and different people that want to get involved with WWE. There's been a lot of iterations of that over the years. Why do you think that relationship is so strong? Because it has been a thread throughout WWE's history for a long time.
And in particular WrestleMania. I mean, when you go all the way back to WrestleMania 1 and you think about Mr. T, you think about Liberace opening the show with the Rockettes, you think about Billy Martin as the guest ring announcer, Cyndi Lauper accompanying Wendy Richter to the ring. That was kind of the whole idea behind WrestleMania, was combining the best of pop culture and the best of sports entertainment. And that's exactly what we have today. And one of the things that's really grown about our business is now we have all of these celebrities coming to us wanting to do stuff.
So cool.
Which is the coolest thing ever, because, WWE might be the coolest thing ever, if you ask me.
Absolutely. And I love when we hear, like, from Bad Bunny, he talks about how much it meant to him. And recently he talked about being the greatest celebrity wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree or not, but is there anyone?
One of, for sure.
He definitely
Bad Bunny shocked me. I mean, someone who invested so much time and effort training. I mean, he really went above and beyond, as has Jelly Roll. And he over-delivered for our audience, I think. He shocked the world.
He certainly did. I was just wondering, is there anyone that we have yet to see in a WWE ring that's a celebrity that you have eyes on potentially making the leap into the ring?
I don't think it's about my eyes.
You're
Understood.
Brilliant. I love you. That's so good. You got to word that differently next time.
Yeah. I'll work on that. That's my bad. That's on me. That's my fault.
Stephanie, you are the absolute best. Enjoy night one of SummerSlam. Thank you for the time. Congratulations again on everything. Again, it is the What's Your Story podcast, Jelly Roll edition. So good. And I guess we can look forward to Big
Look
E's
forward
episode.
to Big E. He was amazing. He was amazing.
Thank you so much.
I have no doubt about that. Stephanie McMahon, you are the absolute best. All right, it's been a big week for WWE for a multitude of reasons, but one of them is Netflix's new docuseries, Unreal. Take a look.
I think I feel way better than I'm supposed to, but I'm also high on adrenaline right now, so it's a process. Once I calm down, I'm sure I'm going to feel all the bumps and bruises.
What's my name?
If you grow up loving wrestling and watching, you want to be that guy. You want to accomplish the boyhood dream. You want to be those guys who are picked and put in that position, and I was tonight.
When that last match gets done, and you sit back in your chair and you go, man, that was awesome. The opportunity has never been bigger for talent to create a moment for yourself no matter what we give you.
Congratulations. Thank you so much for everything. Thanks for that. I really appreciate it.
That's fun.
Awesome.
That wasn't jealous at all.
Not at all.
To make it yours, to own it, there's opportunity right now for everybody on the card. We're going to allow you to spread your wings. And if you hit it right and that connects with people, we're going to run with it. And you always have the opportunity to get yourself to that next level.
Yes, it is a show everybody is talking about. For the first time ever, go behind the scenes and outside the ring with your favorite WWE superstars, where the drama is just as intense offstage as it is under the spotlight on WWE Unreal. It's a new docuseries streaming now on Netflix. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the countdown to SummerSlam, but we are getting closer and closer to kicking this thing off. We'll be right back.
Deep arm drag. Asuka driven off the apron. And Charlotte rolls through. And now Charlotte gonna pick the bad leg. Smart move by Charlotte. This is gonna do it. Bianca's not gonna hang on. Looking to bridge into a figure eight. This is gonna be agonizing. And put Bianca away. Bianca already with a bad leg. We don't know the damage that's been done to the knee. Charlotte bridging. Asuka back on. She blows the mist to Charlotte. Mist to Charlotte. Asuka misses with a kick. Belair rolls her up. Belair wins the title. Who's your winner? And the WWE Women's Champion, Bianca Belair! With a bad knee in a figure four, Bianca Belair, the wherewithal to roll up Asuka to win the Women's Championship. What a display of toughness from Belair. I hope for her sake this isn't a Finn Balor situation where her knee suffered so much damage. This, Bianca Belair has got something serious to worry about. Miss Money in the Bank, Io Sky is rushing down to the ring with Bayley from Damage Control. And Bayley's taking everybody out with the briefcase. Taking out Charlotte, taking out Asuka. Get out of here, Bianca. Briefcase to Belair. Io Sky to the bad knee with the briefcase. And now off the face of Belair. Just cash it in. Io Sky is cashing in her Money in the Bank contract.
Shep. Here is your winner and the new WWE Women's Champion, Io Sky!
From world of stardom to the top of the world, the WWE Women's Champion is Io Sky of Damage Control.
The success rate of the women's Money in the Bank cash-ins remains 100%.
And look who's here.
Dakota Kai of Damage Control.
Dakota has been out with an injury for a number of months, but she's here tonight to celebrate with Io Sky and Bayley.
Last year at SummerSlam, Damage Control emerged on the scene 1 year later and new.
For the first time ever, SummerSlam is a two-night event happening here at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. As we welcome you back to the countdown to SummerSlam, we are officially 13 minutes away from kicking this thing off. Jackie Redmond, Peter Rosenberg, and Big E. Guys, I'm so excited for this tonight. We just had Stephanie McMahon on the panel talking about her interview with Jelly Roll. She's seen a ton of celebrities come in and out of this business and do big things, and I'm excited to see what happens tonight.
Well, for me, it's the commitment that he has. You know, a lot of people say they want to be involved in WWE, but when they get down to it, the work is just too much. They don't want to do the work. They just want the glory. Jelly Roll is doing the work, and she made an absolutely accurate point. He's just an incredible dude. Yeah. Like, every time you see that guy, I don't know how much you've gotten to talk to him. Just a bit. He's just a sweet, lovely man. You know what I mean? And I think this place is going to go crazy for Jelly Roll tonight.
Yeah, I think that they will too. He's definitely put the work in. And you know what else? Like, he genuinely, truly cares about the product. It's not just about getting himself over. He wants the whole thing to live up to the WWE Universe's expectations in every way, even the ways that don't necessarily affect him. All right, we are getting closer and closer. Let's check in with Joe Tessitore. He is ringside as we are, or excuse me, he's on the ramp. Even better. That is a hell of a shot, Joe Tess.
It is beautiful here, Jackie. I got to tell you, this is sort of that golden hour that you get in the Northeast in the summertime, where right now the sun is just cresting to the west here at MetLife Stadium as we make our way down the entry ramp for what's become each and every PLE having its own personality when we get to this point, right? The anticipation, sort of that hype moment before it all gets underway. We got a great crowd that's been here for a long time from all over the country. This is little Josie from Vegas, and we're seeing a lot of this, the Hulkamania and Hulk Forever merchandise. We're seeing that around. And I've been fortunate, as you know, to be in this anticipation build spot before we get going for a few of these PLEs. And I will tell you, they all feel different. They all take on a personality. And it's much different than what we see on the road to WrestleMania, when so much of what we get at Royal Rumble at these moments, or Elimination Chamber, is who's it gonna be? We'll make our way around here to the announce desk, because when you visit with these fans who, you know, we got folks over here from Miami and Oklahoma and all over the world, what they'll tell you is that they're anticipating more of an anything goes. By the way, Alicia Taylor making her entrance right now and getting a great reception as she looks amazing tonight. I've been talking to her. She's really psyched for everything that's going to happen. But once again, how every one of these PLEs takes on its own personality, its own feel. SummerSlam lives to its moniker of being the biggest party of the summer. It's more of the anticipation of anything can happen. Everything can happen. Let's let loose and see how it's going to happen, not just who's punching their ticket to WrestleMania. Alicia, you hyped?
This is my first SummerSlam. I am so pumped, Joe Tess.
Congratulations.
Thank
You've
you.
earned it.
Thank
You have proven that you are one of the best that's been around for a long time, and you look amazing tonight.
Look amazing. Thank you. Let's have fun.
She's a big part of why the anticipation is roaring. But we give you a sense of the scene here, and I can tell you that everybody is super excited, especially, and this is one of the big discussions, which match will be first? We find out soon enough, Jackie.
Yes, we do. I can actually confirm
Here we go.
that it'll be Roman Reigns and Jey Uso as they team up to take on Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. That match will kick off night one of SummerSlam, and I am so intrigued to see what happens. We saw Paul Heyman try to drive a wedge by bringing up the past between Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, but to no avail, seemingly.
And can I throw this out there? It is like, we talked about the fact that Roman Reigns is tagging with Jey Uso and their relationship being renewed. Can we just talk about how different it is that Roman Reigns is in a tag match? He's on first.
Opening the show.
He normally is sitting around right now. He'd be on his double-decker 8-space bus, sitting for 3 hours, getting ready, warming up. Instead, he's starting the show. It's a different situation.
This is so different. We're so used to world title Roman Reigns, main event Roman Reigns. Him opening the show is so different. But talk about starting it off hot, man. This feels like a main event, and we're getting it in the opener. I think it's such a great test for the Bronze as well. We talk about, like, what's their positioning? Are they going to be at the very top of this industry for a decade to come? How do they, how do they come out of this? Like, where do they stand? So I'm really intrigued to see if they can step up, because that would be so huge for them. I think of the Shield coming to the main roster, and they didn't just slowly get there along the way. They were beating top guys right out the gate, and they got there. I think this is a great opportunity for those two in the Bronze to propel themselves to the very top of the card with the win here tonight. But look, Roman and Jey, we're talking about two of the biggest stars in our industry. I still think Roman has another world title run in him.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he's done by any means, and I think very much the same for Jey is on the table. So there's so many players involved, especially the Paul Heyman of it all. I want to see how Paul gets involved in this match.
Can you guys imagine a tsunami landing on Roman Reigns? 1, 2, 3. What that would do, to your point, for Bronson Reed's career. And by the way, hey, LeBron James, everybody at LeBron James, if his favorite tag team isn't the Bronze, what is? LeBron needs to side with this team.
Bronny's got to support his fellow Bronze.
And Bronny. Get Bronny on board.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what, we're getting close to showtime when Michael Cole starts making his way down the ramp, but it's a great match to kick off the night because we're going to get Jey Uso's entrance, and I think this place is going to go absolutely insane. Another match I wanted to talk to you guys about is Tiffany Stratton. She's currently the longest reigning champion in WWE at 211 days. She's undefeated in 2025. She has been so good, but so has her competition tonight in Jade Cargill. This is a massive opportunity for her.
Absolutely. This, of all the matches on the card here tonight, this is the one that I feel most uncertain about. It feels like a coin flip to me. I really have no real feel of which way this one goes. It's so hard for me to think that Jade gets pinned here tonight. The run she's been on, especially since she's been done with the Big Three and has been thrust into the singles competition, it feels like she's inevitable. It feels like her run to a world championship is inevitable. But we also see Tiffany Stratton and seeing her rise. And look, I was there with her. She visited the tryouts with me, I think a couple days ago, and she talked about, I think that was yesterday actually, she talked about the fact that her tryout was just 4 years ago. She was just coming from being an athlete to getting involved in this, and to have this stage already with just 4 years under your belt is incredible. So I don't know which way this one goes, but it's a huge test for each woman.
And for Jade Cargill, to your point, I mean, everybody knows her first match ever in professional wrestling was on national television. Okay, that's how she started. She gets here, she has the incredible appearance at the Royal Rumble where she really blew our minds. Then she ends up in the tag team with Bianca, and I think a lot of people were unsure how well will Jade do here in WWE, right? This style is different. Is she ready for the big moment? So far, over the last couple of months, this singles Jade Cargill makes me think she is in fact ready for the big time. But tonight is the ultimate test.
Absolutely. We talk a lot about her being a star. And look, she oozes star power and charisma. Seeing her out and about doing media this week, she looks like a star. But I think of Muhammad Ali, incredible, doing appearances on late night, doing everything he did. But if he didn't back it up in the ring, if he didn't win world championships, it's all for naught. All that veneer doesn't mean anything if you can't get it done in the ring. So that's the big test for Jade. We know she feels like a star outside of the ring, but if she doesn't back it up with big wins, how long can she hold on to that star power?
Can she walk the walk with a title on the line? And she walked pretty well against Asuka to get this opportunity. We'll see if she can build off of that tonight and win her first singles championship in WWE. All right, so we had a great interview earlier on the show, Sami Zayn with Kathy Kelly. He said he's angry. He said, you're getting what you want, Karrion. I am angry. What do you make of this match? Because for Sami, he's made it no secret. He wants that world heavyweight championship. For Karrion Kross, this is a make or break match for him.
Again, it's another one that's so important for both guys. Now, in the case, it's very different than Jade and Tiffany. You're not talking about two young bucks. You're talking about two veterans who have been around and done this for a long time. Karrion Kross, I mean, the man just wrote a book. The man has made very clear what this business means to him and how badly he wants to succeed. Sami, we know, wants to make it to the highest level as well. And the fact of the matter is, guys, after this match, only one of them is in a position to take that step forward. The other one is taking a step back. It is an immense amount of pressure.
Absolutely, and I keep talking about so much of the emphasis is on Karrion, and I think rightfully so. We know the quality of match that Sami Zayn can put on. We know the kind of competitor he is, but for Karrion, if he shows out here tonight, if he puts on an incredible performance, if he steals the show here tonight, I think he can have a run. I don't know if we're talking about world title matches. I don't know if we're talking about that, because the way that people have gotten behind him is truly incredible.
All right, really quick main event prediction. Just give me a name. Gunther or CM Punk?
I'm going Punk.
I
know.
No
I know.
way.
He's got to get it done. He has to.
It would be an epic moment. I don't sense it's yet. I think it's Gunther retaining.
Okay,
again.
you know what? Listen, my heart wants CM Punk to win that championship for the first time in over a decade, but my brain says the ring general Gunther has just been too dominant during his WWE run to get beaten tonight. I just think he's always ready. He's always prepared. That match will close night one of SummerSlam here at MetLife Stadium, but we are 3 minutes away from things getting kicked off, and starting out tonight's event will be Roman Reigns and Jey Uso as they team up to take on Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. For Big E, Peter Rosenberg, and Jackie Redmond, SummerSlam starts now. Enjoy the show, everybody, and we'll see you for the post show. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to perform God Bless America. Please welcome multi-platinum recording artist and New Jersey's own Breland.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
I only focus on what happens after the bell rings, Punk. And at SummerSlam, I'm gonna choke you out. I'm gonna drop you like a wet towel.
CM Punk.
We know how this ends.
Gunther.
My ego is based on results.
For the World Heavyweight Championship.
I make history.
I cannot wait for this.
WWE SummerSlam tonight.
I only focus on what happens after the bell rings, Punk. And at SummerSlam, I'm gonna choke you out. I'm gonna drop you like a wet towel.
CM Punk.
We know how this ends.
Gunther.